All right, hello everyone, and welcome to the Football Matters live watch of the gold medal match between Brazil and Spain. What a cracker we've got on our hands. I'm your host, Faz, and I'm joined by the ever knowledgeable Brendan, as I always mention. How are you, Brendan?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, mate, couldn't be better, couldn't be better. And an absolute pleasure. Like, what an honour it is to share the screen with an internet legend in Pommy and Oz. How are you, Pom?
I'm very good, my friend. I'm very good. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, I think it'll be a ripper game. Just quietly. So, before we get into the lineups, what are you thinking? What are we thinking about this game so far? Brazil versus Spain. Are they the two best teams in the tournament so far, Brendan?
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say that they're the two, both talent, young talent, and established talent. I'd say they're the best in the Olympics still,
Yeah, yeah. You've been
for
really
sure.
big on Spain, haven't you, mate? Yeah,
They have a lot of young players that are going to be world class.
yeah.
Yeah, so they're going to be. They might actually they might go through another golden generation. Like as
Hmm.
far as all they're missing really is like a striker and maybe a goalkeeper. But apart from that, their midfield's solid. Like Pedri's solid. Busquets is experienced. Maybe they need another young CDM because he's getting up there in age. But they've got the core ingredients to make a really solid squad. And yeah, so they're definitely one. Maybe not next World Cup. Maybe the World Cup after. They'll be a real force for sure.
Yeah, and Pommy, what do you reckon?
Well, I think both teams looking just at their team list. When you look at the rest of the Olympics, these guys really went for it, didn't they? With their acquisitions into their squad, I think their overage players top notch as well. I think both of these guys prioritised gold and silver at the very least. So I think you get what you pay for, don't you? They say, and both sides very talented, footballing powerhouses, like Brandon says. Spain, top-notch side. They've definitely starting to rebuild from them wonder glory years, and Brazil just through the conveyor belt of class, aren't they? I mean, when has there been a crap Brazil side? Never.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong there. And I think the point needs to be raised. I mean, you don't just get the opportunity to win a gold medal every day, or every year even. So these teams have invested heavily in their squads for this tournament, and I think they're going to reap their rewards. Obviously, both getting a medal at the end of this game. It just depends what colour that'll be. So we'll go through the lineups here. Brazil. I'll read through the teams, and if you guys want to jump in and say anything about any of the players, feel free. So in goal, we've got Santos. In the back four for Brazil, we've got Dani Alves. I mean, what a what a player he is. Nino and Carlos as the centre backs, and Arana to complete the back four. We've got Luis. And not not David Luiz, unfortunately, which would have been pretty cool to see him over there. But Douglas Luiz from Villa as a CDM, Gumarez as well, Bruno, Anthony Cunha. Is that Mateus Cunha? I'm not too sure about him. Plays for Herita. And Claudinho, and obviously the main man of the tournament, in my opinion, up front is Richarlison. So, any comments on those players, boys? I'm expecting someone from Richarlison, to be honest, because what a player he is, really.
Well, I mean, Richarlison's probably on everyone's watch list for fantasy football, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, how will he link up with Calvert Lewin? He's been in sensational form, hasn't he, in the Olympics as well? He's been putting them away with ease. It's almost like he's an Audi Ronaldo, isn't he, at the moment in the Olympics? Interesting to see if he can carry that form into the Premier League. Obviously, a different physical game, but no, he's a very solid footballer, and he's probably put himself in the thoughts of Everton, I'd imagine. Like it's intensive pre-season for him, so he's going to come back fresh. So no, he's been a talented footballer for him.
Yeah, 100%. Brendan, what do you think, Richarlison, or
I've
even the
always
Brazil squad?
I've always rated Richarlison. Like when we lost Hazard, I'm like either sign Son or Richarlison to replace him because it's like he's very good at finishing. As far as wide players go, like I know he can play centrally too, but he's a wide player that's got a finish that's probably better than most strikers in world football, you know. So it adds another like factor of like unpredictable, and he can hit him on both feet too. He doesn't shy away from left footers. He doesn't shy away from right footers. He doesn't shy away from headers. I remember one season, I think it was 2 seasons ago, someone crossed it in. I think it was Bernard crossed it in. Richarlison leaped over everyone and scored a header past Chelsea, and I was just like, how is he winning headers? Like this,
No.
like he's phenomenal.
I think
And like, I'm surprised Everton have kept him for so long. Like, you know.
Yeah, I
like,
think he's the next big thing in world football, in my opinion. I think he's certainly got the quality and the class. And we look at the Spanish lineup: Simon in goals, Gil, Garcia, Torres, Curacella complete the back four, Zubamendi as that defensive mid, Mourinho and your man Brendan Pedri complete that midfield. I know you love him. Asenio and Olmo out wide. And an interesting player up forward, who, in my opinion, has been a bit of a surprise in. I can't even pronounce it actually. Oyarzabal. Yeah. It's a mouthful, but geez, he's been a bloody good surprise, I think, for Spain in this tournament. So the Spanish lineup, maybe not as many big names, but definitely competitive. And Brendan, we'll get to you with your crush in Pedri.
He's not my crush, but no, he's a good young player, man. Barca fans compare him to Iniesta and Xavi, so like it's bold because he's so young to compare them to two of the best midfielders I've seen play. Obviously, started getting into football like 2012, 2011. That's when I really started to get into it. So it was like the end of the road for like good players like Paul Scholes. So I never saw Scholes at his prime, but Iniesta and Xavi were in their prime during those times, you know, like 2011, 2010, 2012.
And
they
the
were
Barcelona
phenomenal.
fans, they love him, don't they?
Absolutely,
You know,
those players were
Pedri,
phenomenal, and the fact that they're comparing Pedri to them speaks volumes. Like it depends. Like it's being talented is one thing. It's the mentality as well. Like if you have the mentality saying you like thinking you've already made it and stuff. Like I like to quote Daniel Lozani because to me that's what he's gone through. You're just gonna crumble. Like it's the like mental side of the game is like 80% of it, 20% talent. The rest of it's all mental. Like none of the real young talented players that work out. Like Mbappe when he made it, he still thinks he hasn't made it, even though he's won everything you could possibly win apart from the Champions League. He still hungers, and that's the thing. Like, and so yeah, it'll be interesting to see his mental game. But from what I've seen of it, his mental game's spot on. Like he seems like he works hard and trains hard and stuff, just from seeing how he performs on the pitch.
Yeah, spot on. And Pommy, your comments on the Spain starting lineup?
Well, I'm a big fan of Mikel Oyarzabal. I mean, if you watch a bit of the La Liga, he's been killing it for Real Sociedad. Few Real Sociedad players as well in the Spanish lineup as well. So they've gone with a real homegrown feel, both Basque kids. So he's a very good footballer. What is it? 2 goals, 2 assists so far for him. So he's definitely been their playmaker. I'm a big fan though of Curacella as well, the ex-Barcelona guy who roams down the left. A real bit of energy for him. We know Getafe, they just announced they've bought him out of his Barcelona contract. So obviously Barca have let him go, which the problems at Barca at the moment, big surprise.
Jeez, bit of can of worms. Open a can of worms there, Pom. The Barcelona. Before we get on to that, because I think that's a real big talking point, I'd just like to have a quiet little shout out to Mrs. Faz. Tomorrow is actually our 6-year wedding anniversary, so a big shout out to the wife who allows me to jump on these things and act like a fool, but she's an absolute rock. So 6 years in love. Or married, so thank you, Mrs. Faz. So just a little quiet shout out there. So yeah, well, we'll jump on to the Barcelona can of worms there, Pommy. We all know if you don't know, you've obviously been living under a rock. So, but as we know, Lionel Messi has officially left Barcelona. Certainly for the first time, well, in my life, we'll see Lionel Messi wearing a different shirt. What the hell is going on at Barcelona? What the hell? Brendan, you know what's going on there? It's just
Ah. Well, I remember years and years ago, I think it was 15 years ago, Messi did an interview and he said the only way I'll leave Barcelona is if they kick me out, and that's exactly what they've done. They've literally said here's the door, goodbye, and they didn't even give him a proper farewell. Like he's given them everything, Champions Leagues upon Champions Leagues upon league titles. You know, like he's given them everything they could have possibly wanted, and they've just shoved him out. And he didn't
Yeah.
want to leave. Like he's pissed. The owner came out and said he's not happy, and then he also came out and said he's not happy. But this is the best thing for Football Club Barcelona going forward. Which I don't think. Like, how can you let go of the best player you've ever produced? Like, and not even give them a proper farewell. Just kick them out the door. Like
to me, it's and I'm not saying this lightly, and I mean everywhere to say it's a sad day. It's a sad day
yeah.
of world football. I mean, everyone of our age, of our era, and all that. Lionel Messi, Barcelona. You know, it's the first shirt we ever saw. It's the first, you know, that maroon and blue stripe. It's just, I'm not a Barcelona fan myself, but I was flat. I was real flat when I heard that. It's sad. It's just really sad. I can't think of any other way to describe it. Pom, do you have those sentiments as well, or?
Oh, I think it's the state of the game as well. You're starting to see La Liga have tried to merge their league now with 70% of the revenue to mirror the financial restrictions of UEFA and the Champions League and Europa. So I think for teams like Real Madrid, Barcelona, where they've got used to spending a lot of money and then manipulating their books just for European competition, I think you might see this happen more and more and more across Europe, particularly with Brexit in England as well. You're going to see a lot of foreign players be shipped out, so to try and balance the books. So it's interesting. I mean, it's sad though, isn't it? Because I think the wonderful thing about Messi is he's a one-club player, and that's so rare in the roundball game. Like, it's so rare. Not many good players do it. So it's going to be weird, isn't it, seeing him if he wears the sky blue of Man City or if it's the blue of Paris Saint-Germain. It'll be a weird to see.
It will be, and I think you're right with you saying with the way world football is going. And personally, I hope you're right with the way it goes with these big clubs not being able to manipulate it, but not for Messi. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather it to be other players fall out, but not Messi and Barcelona. But that's just me personally. We'll just go through a few questions and comments we've got here so far. So we've got Josh coming up. Predicted score. So let's go. We'll go around the chat for a predicted score. I'll go first. I'm hoping it's going to be a high scoring affair, but I'm thinking Brazil, 2-1. I'm tipping Brazil 2-1. Tom?
I think we might get a Richarlison hat trick here, 3-1 Brazil.
Hope so. Brendan?
I'm going to go 2-1 Spain.
I like it.
Whoa! I like the sound of that. And we'll go to Mitch, who's obviously one of the big fan favourites of this show. We love having Mitch, who comment. Great start to the show tonight, lads. Feeling the synergy in for a good night. Yeah, I'm feeling it too, Mitch. I'm feeling it. Pommy and I had a bit of a rough day today with other things that we don't want to talk about. But no, we're really feeling the energy. It's great. I can't wait for tonight. Thank you. And here's just a little funny one before we get started. First time comment. Here's Mrs. Faz commenting. I'll bring it up. Hold on. Here it is. Faz, as a gift for anniversary, will you finally admit I'm a better football player in this relationship? I'll have it on record. I'll look down the barrel. Yes. We met playing at a football club together, and I'll finally admit it down the barrel for all our viewers. Mrs. Faz is definitely the better footballer than me, 100%. Maybe not so much since the kids, but yeah, definitely in our prime, she was the best. So a little bit of funny one there to kick us off. So thank you for that. Yeah, so we're looking forward to the kickoff very soon. So we just spoke about Messi earlier. whilst we're waiting for the kickoff, just a quick, where do you think, if you had to have a tip, where do you think he'll go? Like, if you had to put your house on it, who's he going to line up for next season? Brendan?
I think you want to play under Pep again. I do,
Mm.
but I think PSG, they have the money, so they can splash. So it depends what he wants. If he wants money, he'll pick PSG. If he wants to play under someone he's played under before, he'll go to Man City. They're the two
Yeah.
factors, because I don't like Pochettino's never won a trophy. So like,
No.
you know, it's whether it's Pep has, everywhere he goes, he wins things, and it doesn't matter what squad he has, like he'll find a way.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I generally think Messi will probably pick Man City over PSG. It's just
Ooh,
whether or not Pep wants him, because yeah.
whether or not Pep wants him, we're talking about the greatest footballer of all time.
Yeah, well,
whether
yeah,
Pep
that's the
wants him.
thing. But like, with like
Come on,
Man
mate.
City might not be able to afford his wages with all the new signings and whatnot. So,
Yeah. Pom, what do you reckon?
Well, I mean, I think if you look at it, they were saying that they were on the precipice of paying 120 million for Kane. I think Messi actually presents value. Do you know what I mean? I think with the situation where it is, out of contract player, they're going to get him for a lot less than Harry Kane initially. And if he gives them Champions League, if he gives them another Premier League title, probably the revenue, also as Brandon said earlier, shirt sales, it's a huge acquisition and signing. It just depends where
shirt
his
sales
loyalties
alone.
lie. Depends
shirt
where his
sales
loyalties
alone.
lie. Like, I mean, I think he'll go to PSG. I think the money will talk eventually, but it would be a dream to see him in the Premier League.
You're not wrong, and as we've had kickoff, we're a minute in, and Spain are into a attack here. I couldn't agree more. I mean, my gut says to me that that he'll go to PSG. Part of me, maybe the child inside of me, hopes that he's going to pick quality of football versus over money, and go to Man City. Not that, I mean, he's not going to be broke going to Man City. Let's be serious. But the dream, I mean, I would watch every Man City game. It meant him being in the Premier League. It's just, it'd be huge. It'd be huge, and it'd be great for his legacy as well.
I think if I was him as well, imagine him linking up with Grealish. Like, that's their big signing. Like,
Yeah,
and
De
for me,
Bruyne.
Grealish,
Yeah.
controversial opinion, I think Grealish is the best player with the ball at his feet in Europe.
Oh, massive call. I like it. I like it.
I honestly think the guy's a genius, and I think
I'm not necessarily disagreeing, but I do like it. I like the call. It's a big call.
I think they lack a David Silva, and I think he's better than Silva at his prime. So
Brendan,
if I was Messi, he's going to get fed like a starving horse.
Yeah. So, Brendan, you be the best one to reply to this. I know you've got a very good opinion on footballers across the world, so across Europe. So we'll go for you for the rebuttal to Pommy's Grealish is the best.
There's no one is better on the ball than Lionel Messi. The guy's just ridiculous. Jack Grealish is, the way I look at Jack Grealish, I see him as a modern day David Beckham. Like, he's very good, like very, very good, and he can carry the weight of any team on his shoulders, and he does it with pride too. So that was similar with David Beckham. Like, he carried the whole nation on his shoulders at one point. And but to compare him to, like, as far as dribbling with the ball, no one compares to Messi. I think Jack Grealish is the best controlling of the ball in the Premier League since Eden Hazard left, for sure. 100%, not going to deny that. But there's just, it's a different gravy, because Messi's just ridiculous. I know he'd be the same when he plays for Man City, if he plays for Man City. Like, it wouldn't matter what side they give the ball to, because both of them are, like, they're going to dribble past 3 or 4 players every time they get the ball. Like, they're just going to, whoever plays up front, Richarlison would score like 30 plus goals in the season if they sign Messi, because either way, if they start Grealish on the left over Sterling, which I would, personally, he's gonna, like, so any striker, they could have the worst striker in world football, and they'd get 20 plus goals because of if they have Messi and Grealish, because those two are they're so creative, they're creative geniuses. Like, They just and we saw it in the Euros as well. Every time Jack Grealish came on, he created a goal. May not get the assist, but he'd be involved in the play that led to a goal. So, and Messi's the same every time. Like in the whole Copa America, he the only goal he didn't play a part in was the final goal that won him the tournament. That was the one goal Messi didn't play a part in. So like to have those two in a team, it guarantees you a league title. In my opinion, it just guarantees Man City a title. Doesn't matter who they have at striker. Doesn't matter who they have in the defense. You know, like it would be ridiculous.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more. If he goes there, it's written, signed, still delivered, in my opinion. But as I said, the child in me, I don't know. I'd be floored if I just saw Lionel Messi playing, against West Ham or something. It'd be beautiful. But hopefully hopefully it can happen. But I'm actually in the greens with Palm. I think he'll end up at PSG, sadly. But we'll see how that happens. So 5 minutes in, Spain have looked pretty good going forward. I think they've come into this game obviously wanting to attack, and my biggest belief is always the best form of defense is a good offense, and I think they've come out that. And what do we think? The first 5 minutes, they're certainly on top.
Spain definitely controlled the ball very well, haven't they? Which you expect from a Spanish side, don't you?
Yep.
They're keeping it on the deck as well, not doing anything too risky. But that's the wonderful thing about Brazil. They have that South American flair, don't they? They only need a couple of touches on the ball, and before you know it, the ball's in the back of the onion bag.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And I think it would be rude of us being Australians to not mention Chris Beath, refereeing the gold medal match. One of the A-League's finest referees, getting to the privilege to referee the gold medal match. I mean, we all hate referees here, but I think as a moment for him, this must be the greatest moment in his career, to be honest. I don't want to speak for him, but what a privilege for him to be able to referee a gold medal match.
Oh, huge. Huge for Australia too.
Oh, of course. We've got to get ourselves on the map somehow, because it's certainly not our football. So.
Well, it's interesting because we were talking about it earlier today, being a couple of friends. It's weird that someone of Messi's ilk doesn't think, it's a shame that businessmen don't contact him in Australia and say, look, we'll pay you X amount of dollars, come and build the game in Australia. Like, imagine that, a Messi lining up for Melbourne Victory. And imagine how that would impact Australia. You look at what the David Beckham effect at LA Galaxy. It wasn't successful on the field, but what it did off the field was huge. And you look at USA now in the 10 years since he's left, absolute academy of players coming through purely from the Beckham effect. So something that maybe the A-League need to look at, getting some of these superstars up through the league.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I mean, me personally, I didn't know much of the MLS until Beckham went over there. So I'm a perfect example of that. I didn't really pay much attention until he went there. And since he's been there, I do pay attention to it now and actually follow a team over there. And so the Beckham effect is huge. And I think you're right. I mean, whether or not the A-League can afford that, something like that, I mean, we're talking Messi here, like that's next level, maybe a level below that, perhaps. But I'm not too sure, being the salary cap. But I mean, they tried it with Tim Cahill, getting a fan favorite back to the league, and he didn't last too long. And I mean, Del Piero was probably the biggest one in recent memory that I can think of, who probably put the A-League on the map. But I think you're right, Palmer. The A-League definitely need to find something to just give it that little kick. I mean, do you remember back in the day when they tried it with Emil Heskey? When he came.
Yeah, I remember Heskey came in the UK.
Yeah. And he came, but I think you raise a good point. The A-League certainly need that little bit of an injection, to that little to get people, the non-football fans, really to pay attention.
Well, I think it's big names. I think that's where the MLS did it well. They used to go with the old superstars, like your Del Pieros, and everyone's like, oh, 10 years ago, that's exciting. But Beckham was still in his prime.
Yeah.
Like, you look at his loans, AC Milan, Paris Saint-Germain, like teams wanted him when it was their off season. So I think if the A-League do it, they need a player that's playing now, that's in his pomp. And you've got to look at these players like Messi and stuff. Like you hear Ronaldo say that his next contract, he'd like to go back to Portugal on little money and build the game up at home. Like some of these players must at some point think, I'd love to give it back. And Australia is a huge sporting nation. I mean, imagine being the player that builds the brand.
Yeah.
Because Messi would convert a lot of people, wouldn't he? If Messi rolled out for Central Coast Mariners tomorrow,
they'd be the biggest club.
Expand the stadium. They wouldn't like.
Yeah.
Like imagine it. I mean, we'd all be on the Central Coast Mariner train.
Oh, they'd be the biggest club in the league overnight, and that's just the effect that he'd have, for sure.
And you think as well with the NRL failing financially, it's definitely if I was the A League, I'd be thinking there's a chance to knock the NRL out. And all it takes is a big summer signing, doesn't it? Big signing. You look what Usain Bolt did for the A League.
He's not even a footballer.
Yeah, the amount of my mates back in the UK saying, "Oh, he's playing in Australia. Is he any good? He's all over the news here." Like, all it takes is a celebrity.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And I think, I think that's to kick off the league. That's exactly what they need to do. They just need to get that big name, whoever it is, and just build the whole build up around him. So,
mate, I can see Messi slotting into the forward line at Melbourne Victory. I reckon he'd just make the best 11.
Just.
He'd score 6 goals a game. He honestly would probably score 6 goals a game.
He'd probably just slot in, I think, into that forward line.
That's yeah. Well, I think that's a good point. We kind of just started to touch on it about where Australian football is. I know the last show we did a few weeks ago, the last Australian game, I went on a bit of a hot-headed tangent about how I'm disgusted with where the Australian football's heading. Just that believing we are actually on a knife's edge, and if we don't fix something, the world's just going to forget about Australia as a footballing nation. So, where do we see? What's the next step? Is it getting far in these tournaments? Is it building the A-League? Like, what's the next step for Australian football? Like, where do we go from here? Brendan, I'll let you start with this one because you had a bit to say last time. So
to be a successful nation, I think you have to have a good, your league has to be of a certain standard. Like, you look at America, the last 2 World Cups, they've been pretty decent, right? They've surprised a lot of people because the MLS has grown in talent and their academies are well structured now and everything like that. And that's because of the big signings as well. So you have to focus on the national league of your country before the country can thrive. So back in the day when we had Tim Cahill, we were lucky because most of them went to Europe when they were basically 16, 17, 18, they were young when they decided to leave the country, and that's why we had a team that was relatively good because majority of them were playing in Europe. And the Australian squad now, I think maybe 4 or 5 players play in Europe. Back then you had Lucas Neal, Mark Schwarzer, Tim Cahill, Harry Kewell. Basically 98% of the squad played in Europe. Now it's 4 or 5 players. It's not good enough.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong there. Tom, do you want to add to that or?
Well, I mean, I've been quite critical of the A-League, and I think Brandon's spot on. I think to develop your league, I think you look at Scotland and the improvement we've made. in our nation and making finals and making big tournaments again was getting rid of the monopoly that Celtic and Rangers had on the young kids, first of all.
Yep.
So the other clubs could develop these players and they could have a pathway to first team, because obviously Rangers and Celtic have the money to attract international talent. I think the A-League make a huge mistake of getting the finances in by creating familiarity. So I look at MLS, they affiliate with a lot of the NFL sides. So there's kind of that knowledge. So if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, you've kind of got a soccer team to support too. I think the A-League missed a huge opportunity when Melbourne was one of the central hubs of Australian sport and football to create an AFL that was the A-League, like, and actually market that as the wintertime version of your summertime game. I think they made a mistake on that to attract the young talent, first of all. And I think when you've got Andy Keogh and Alessandro Diamanti as your superstar overseas players that would be lucky to play League Two football in the UK, you've got issues, haven't you? Because, I mean, there can't be many kids going out there and saying, when I grow up, I want to be Andy Keogh.
No, you're spot on. You're spot on. And I think Diamanti, he's a bit of a West Ham cult hero. But then he plied his trade in Asia. So he comes across the A-League and half the supporters don't even know who he is. So you're spot on there. And Andy Keogh, I mean, he was playing championship when he was in his prime. He was playing championship football. So, it's apples and oranges really when you're comparing to some of the names they should be trying to get in.
Well, I mean, you just need a superstar, don't you? I mean, like, there's been a few of them as well around the market. Like, I would have said Dan Sturridge would have been someone that, if I was in the league, I would have wanted to attract someone who's Premier League has been nearly.
Yeah, I was just seeing that. I was on the edge of my seat. Spain. I mean, I'd love to see how close that was to crossing the line. But
Diego Carlos nearly scoring the best own goal you'll ever see there.
Yeah, it comes in. No, it was nowhere near. But how good. But yeah, I think you're right. Like a player like Daniel Sturridge, I mean, he would have just got the people up and about if he come down.
Well, yeah, I mean, you've heard of him. Do you know what I mean? First and foremost, he's played major tournaments. You know he is. I mean, other players are like, your Xavi's, do you know what I mean? Recently retired, he pissed off to Qatar for a bit. Like, these kind of brand names. Like, I know you've got the salary cap here, so has the MLS, but there's ways to finance these deals, do you know what I mean, on the back of TV revenue. Like we say, if it is someone big, like, I remember seeing a stat ages ago, Emo Heskey's debut is something like the 28th most watched soccer game in Australian history.
Yeah, when he played for Newcastle, yeah.
And Emil Heskey might be the worst footballer I've ever seen. Like, honestly,
Liverpool legend.
He is literally one of the worst players I've ever seen. Like,
he's actually the first player I ever heard the reference a donkey.
He couldn't hit a cow's ass with a banjo in front of goal, that guy. But he had one good season for Leicester and everyone remembered it. And then he went to Liverpool and he happened to play alongside Owen. And I'll tell you what, at the time, if you put me next to Owen, I would have probably scored 20 goals a year as well.
Mate, you're not wrong. Hey, good news here. We've got Josh. Joshy's jumped on board. Hey, Josh, sorry it took so long to get you in, but we were in depth in conversation. I see you've got your Brazil shirt on there, mate.
Yeah, well, I've got the game on here, and I've got the United Everton game on my phone. So,
is that a friendly or?
Yeah. I'm surprised United's playing. Half their squad's come down with COVID.
I was going to say, as a West Ham fan, I'm hoping for injuries in that game. But as Brazil go close, but I think they might be offside.
Yeah. I just want to put something to you guys too. One point that I wanted to raise. I was trying to get my internet sorted before I jumped on. What is, for me, I'll give my opinion at the end, but everybody give theirs. Your opinion on Harry Kane missing training to force the move.
Yeah, cool.
One thing. And Jules was right, and I heard this on TalkSport. If that was Paul Pogba, everybody would have slaughtered him. He would have been slaughtered if it was Paul Pogba. Because it's Harry Kane, it's so loud.
We'll just wait for the Brazil corner, and then we'll talk about that. So Brazil take the shortish, longish corner. however you want to try it, outside, and it's a nothing strike, cleared, free kick. Yeah, to me, I think it's pretty ordinary. You're the captain of your country. You've signed a contract with the club. The least you could do is rock up to training, put your hard yards in. You can still force a move, but you've got to you've just got to be professional about it. I mean, we all work. We've all got jobs. I mean, if I was planning on leaving my job tomorrow, I wouldn't just not rock up. I'd be, you'd still go in. You put your head down, bum up, do the hard yards, and leave on a good note. Unfortunately, in my opinion, his reputation will probably be remembered by this moment, especially if it doesn't go well. As we spoke before, if he can't get to Man City and he has to crawl back with his tail between his legs and his hands out to Tottenham, I mean, that's his reputation, that's his legacy. How are we going to remember Harry Kane? I mean, I don't want to bury the bloke, but how are we going to remember him if this is the way he's going to leave? And I hate Tottenham. I'm not going to make any secrets about that, but gee whiz, I don't like it personally. Pom, what do you think?
Well, I mean, first of all, it's a tough one for Harry Kane because I think he was adamant he was leaving, and then obviously Tottenham have got a new coach and kind of put their eggs in the basket that he might give them a chance. I mean, there was talk coming out today that Harry hasn't refused to train. Tottenham gave him the extended holiday and know about it, and it's the press manufacturing it. So, I mean, that's an interesting comment from Harry because he's made the tweet that's public now that he loves the club, loves his country, honour captain him. He did seem quite upfront, though, that he was going to leave. It reminded me very much of the Gerrard with Liverpool before he changed his mind and stayed. I think he's been quite upfront that he's going to explore avenues. It's a weird one, though, because the problem is with England's transfer window, if you don't make it quick, like you look at the Sancho deal last year, if it's not done and it gets to this stage, you're now rushing to get a replacement in. So for Harry, the worst news for me is Lionel Messi going on available because it presents value for Man City. I think it presents a lot of value, and I guarantee you now, if Pep's got an option of him over Kane, he's taking Messi every day and probably 7 times on a Saturday. Like so.
He's taking it 8 days a week.
Who would pay that money. I really can't see any other club that would be interested in Harry's 6-yard box Kane. Like the guy's not that good. The guy's not that good. It's 2021. It's not 2001 anymore. So it'd be interesting.
I agree. I agree on that. I think we can all agree that if you're going to choose one of Harry Kane or Lionel Messi, I mean, just end the show now because we don't need it. That's not even a conversation. So we just got a few comments here that we'll go through. We've got one from Chris here in regards to our conversation about the A-League. Not sure where the money will come from unless most A-League teams go privatized to billionaires like the Premier League. You cannot compete against USA money invested. Yeah, I think that's spot on. I think the salary cap and the limited resources that we have in Australian football, we obviously it's struggled to bring those big names in. I mean, we're able to bring Tim Cahill back. We're able to bring players to the league who have passed their prime and finished and just probably looking for a holiday in Australia in the best time of the year. But yeah, I don't think we can compete with the USA. So I think that's spot on from Chris. Does anyone agree with that?
Emil Heskey was part funded by the TV.
Yeah. But that's a representation of and I know he wasn't a footballer, it was a joke, but when Usain Bolt wanted to come to the A-League and he wanted like $3 million or something, and obviously Central Coast are a poor man's club, so they can't afford that.
Can't afford it.
They were trying to find someone to fund it. Like, if they're not going to fund players like David Beckham, for example, or we'll say Messi to come, for example, if they're not going to fund players like that, they're not going to fund Usain Bolt. They're not going to get anything out of it. The guy is probably better than Emil Heskey, but, he's it would have been good to see him play. Like, in all fairness to him, Central Coast did have their most ever fans turn up at a training session, like more than they've got at games when he was there. Yeah. So, it would have been good for them in terms of like money revenue, but in terms of growing the game,
There's definitely a spot for stuff like that, but I think Chris is right in what he said that we just can't compete with the US money invested, and moving on with the talk on Harry Kane, we've got Aaron here, good fan of the show, captain of country, captain of the club, who make him the player he is today, yet he treats the club like this. It's a dog act. Harsh words.
I don't agree with that.
Harsh words. But
I don't agree with that. But that's his opinion.
You don't agree that it's a dog act, or?
Oh, okay. So I do, and like I said, if Paul Pogba did it, and Dan can agree with me, he was a United fan, everybody would be ripping his head off. Graham Souness would be calling him all types of names. But to be fair, Harry Kane's done more in a season for Tottenham than Paul Pogba's ever done.
Sorry, just stop you there. Just Richarlison just hit the side netting. I thought that was in. I was about to fall off my chair. Sorry, Josh, to cut you off. It was a great, great ball in the box, and it just shows Brazil's prowess. I mean, Spain have been on top, and they just take one chance in Richarlison, tight angle, side netting. He missed it by a long way, but live you thought, oh, geez, that was in.
Everton are missing him at the moment.
Yeah, good bit of play by Richarlison. So anyway, continue, Josh. Sorry, what you're saying about
So to be fair, I'm not, obviously, I don't have any contacts inside Tottenham, but I don't know exactly what's happened. But from all accounts, from what I've heard, they had, and I get it's a gentleman's agreement, but as a football fan, I kind of feel like they should have gone with it. Apparently, Daniel Levy had a gentleman's agreement with Harry Kane. This is from what I've heard, that last season, if he gives him another season, he'll let him go for 100 million or more. And if that's true, and he's gone back on his deal, then I can see Harry Kane being upset. I don't agree with not turning up to training, but he feels it's his only option. And if it's his only option, then I just the only thing I don't like about it is that, like I think it was Dan was saying before, how late he's doing it. If he did this during the Euros and said I want to leave, which we all know he wants to leave, but if he did this just after the Euros, gives them time to go out and sign like Martial or somebody like another striker, Gabriel Jesus. Then,
I guess in Harry Kane's defence, hopefully he wasn't thinking about this stuff during the Euros. You're wanting him to do well for England, but look, it's a great point. I think it's a topic that will divide opinions. I do agree with you what you're saying about Paul Pogba. He's someone whose reputation and overall persona would give the media a field day. Harry Kane is a bit of a clean skin, like I said, England's baby. They probably are being a bit light on him.
If I were Harry Kane, I'd go to Arsenal and stick it up Tottenham and go, I'll score a hat-trick on you.
He wants to win trophies, mate. He wants to win trophies. Let's be serious. What's the point of leaving Tottenham and going to Arsenal? Like, come on. Like, I'm not being funny.
Chelsea.
I'm not being funny. I mean, I'm a West Ham fan, and we're crap. But like, leaving Tottenham to go to Arsenal.
No, I was kidding. But I could see him. Could you guys see him going to Chelsea maybe? Because to be fair, as a United fan, if what I've heard is true, I don't want him as a United fan because allegedly there's rumours coming out from this player's agent that Ollie and Haaland are in talks to get Haaland to United next season. So if that's true, I don't want Kane. If it's not true, get Harry Kane in the door.
How much money United got?
Next season, probably. If we can get Phil Jones out of the books. Does West Ham want Phil Jones or?
Well, we'll take him. That's a West Ham signing if I've ever heard one. Phil Jones on a free? Yeah, no worries. Welcome aboard, mate.
You can have Martial while you're there.
Mate, whilst we're on, I don't want to be changing the topic. This is not the West Ham show, but far out. I heard we were linked to Gary Cahill as well, and I thought, mate, that's me done. That's a West Ham.
Gary Cahill.
May as well bring Javier Mascherano in.
I thought we were moving on. I thought West Ham were moving on from these shit signings, but anyway, good luck to them.
It breaks my heart, Faz, because you know who Cahill just signed for this other?
Yeah,
Rangers.
You're joking. You're having a laugh,
he's arrived at the training. It was in my emails. He's about to sign for a year.
Hey, I'm happy for you because he'll do good there. But Gary Cahill, he's not at West Ham.
I'm looking forward to Gary Cahill at 35 lining up at centre back.
It'll be good, mate. I'm a relieved man because, like I said, that's a West Ham signing if I've ever heard one.
Well, we've got a former West Ham player playing forward for us as we speak now. I'm watching 2 games. I'm watching us against Dundee. And we've got the great Jermaine Defoe.
Oh, I love Jermaine Defoe.
Oh, Jermaine Defoe. Look, this is a touchy subject. Jermaine Defoe, man, he left like Harry Kane being a dog. Jermaine Defoe leaving West Ham the way he left, but I always got a soft spot for Jermaine Defoe in my heart. I love him.
Could be worse, Faz. He could do an Addy by all, score against you, run the full length of the field to celebrate in front of your fans.
Jermaine wouldn't do that to us.
Jermaine's great. Anyway, I love that story with Bradley Larry.
Yeah. So we're 30 minutes in. I think Brazil have just started to pep up a bit.
Anthony's finding a bit of a space, isn't he, on that right-hand side?
He is.
The Ajax legend himself.
Can we just say while I'm here, I forgot to say it too. Our thoughts and prayers are with Wesley Fofana after that horrible tackle.
Oh my goodness!
That guy is probably to me one of the best young centre backs in the world, and you don't want to see that.
Yeah, that was
dodgy.
I don't know if Brendan or Pom saw the challenge in a friendly. The friendly game for Leicester. I don't know who they were playing actually.
Villarreal.
Villarreal, yeah. It
was a stupid tackle. There's no reason to do it.
Look, I know I can get a bit, bit matter of facty, but that was one of the worst acts on a football field in a friendly, practice match before the season to break the bloke's leg. I mean, that was. Kevin Muscat would have been proud of that.
Leicester now have to try and go out and find another centre back because he won't be back this year. Apparently, he's got a broken leg, done his ACL as well.
Yeah, no, he's cactus for the year, but they'll find a centre back. Leicester, they're off field.
Efficient.
Yeah, their off field is second to none. They'll find someone, but that was devastating for the young fella. I rate him highly, but
yeah, true. I wanted him at United.
Bad news in the soccer world, but it is great news for anyone who's pre-ordered FIFA 2022 because you won't have to see him lining up at centre-back with his 92 pace. So, every cloud.
One centre-back that's destroyed me all year on FIFA, and that's Rafael Varane.
Yeah,
and now he's in the Premier League. Great.
And now everyone's fantastic. Just Premier League links. I can't wait.
He's a fair footballer.
Just what the world needed. Varane in the Prem. All these sweaty, jammy players just going to play Varane.
While I'm here, are you guys coming on the live watch along? I don't know about Dan and that, but I'm doing one for the United. Who are they playing? Leeds, I think it is. I don't know who they're playing. Yeah.
Oh, United the first game of the Prem. Of course I'm going to be there. Of course.
It's actually the second, but yeah.
Josh, you express no invitation, mate. I'll be there. Any chance to see Leeds get done, I am there. I'll be first and foremost. I will wear a Manchester United top if I have to. Any chance to see Leeds get beaten, I'm your man. Because I tell you what, there is no. I don't want to offend any Leeds fans out there, but I tell you what, there's no bigger or more hated football club that got promoted than Leeds United. Seriously, we were better off without them.
Who's the team you guys, and without saying your own side, so obviously Dan can't say United, neither can I, Faz can't say West Ham, Brendan can't say Chelsea. Who's the one team, and don't say City because I hate them, but who's the one team you're looking forward to seeing? For me, it's Brentford. I honestly rate Brentford, and I'm looking forward to seeing them in the Premier League this year. They'll be all right, I reckon.
It's a good question. I'll let Brendan answer first so I can just have a little think. Brendan.
To be honest, I'm a massive fan of Leicester City as well. Like just the way the whole club's ran, the owners being so close to the players and the fans is remarkable. But I'm also like Watford's an interesting one, because João Pedro's young Brazilian striker, and could he be the next big thing? Like I watch Ben Foster's YouTube channel, and he says that João Pedro's he's a baller. Like apparently there's something about him. So it'll be interesting. So I'm looking forward to watching Watford next season, probably over any other club apart from Chelsea, obviously for obvious reasons. But yeah,
not bad. Pom?
I think you'll like this answer, fellas. I'm looking forward to seeing your boys, West Ham.
I appreciate that.
I've got to say, I've got a little bit of a soft spot for West Ham when I was growing up. A bit of Joe Cole and Frank Lampard action. Loved watching them when I was a kid. But no, I think I always enjoy David Moyes' sides because I think he does it the right way. He does it the right way. He doesn't spend big money. He just grinds and hustles. Gets a bit of a rub of the green. I'm looking forward to seeing a few of their players just to see how they develop in the end of the year. I mean, it's going to be an interesting thing because it's going to be tough, isn't it? But I mean, you brought in Dawson, didn't you, who spent a bit of time at West Ham, so that'll be interesting. But if you can get Lingard back, because the talk is that you're going to get him back now.
I've been hearing that he doesn't want to come back.
Yeah, what I've heard from people in the club is that he wants to stay and fight for his spot. Which, to be fair, I like Lingard a lot, and I liked him even when he was in poor form. But you're not getting in that squad over Marcus Rashford. To be fair, now we got Sancho. You're not getting in over Sancho. He might play the start of the year because Rashford's out for 2 months. But the form that I'm watching now that Martial's in. To be fair, even if you go to West Ham on loan, as much as I like Lingard, he's 28. It's not like he's like 15 and he's like,
All right, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this very clearly, as clear as I can, and I'm not being funny. I heard on BBC they were saying that you'd rather play 15 games for United than starting a full season for West Ham, and I think that is utter bullshit. Yeah. I love the big clubs, and that's fine, and I understand. I'll stay in my lane. I understand West Ham. I'll stay in my lane, but come on, man, come on. As we're looking at, I want to continue this rant, but we're looking at a possible penalty here, as Chris Beath goes to the VAR and looking at a possible penalty. But I'm just saying.
That could be the stiffest penalty in the world.
It would be. It'd be a joke. Let's have a look.
Hey, he's an A-League ref. I wouldn't be surprised if he gives it.
That handball. I think he's going to give it. What do you reckon?
He had all eyes for the ball. Like, you can't.
No. But the handball. He's looking away. His hand's up on his shoulder.
His hand didn't hit it. It hit his in the head.
Imagine if this gets given. What a stick as well.
It did hit his hand. That's dodgy.
The poor defender as well, blocked by the goalkeeper.
Yeah, he'll give it. He'll give it. It's soft, but he'll give it. What's he going to do?
Richarlison will take it.
He's giving it.
But on what you were saying, Faz, Darren Bent, I heard they asked him about that on TalkSport, and he said he's the opposite. He'd rather play full season for West Ham.
It's a penalty. 100%. It's a penalty. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. But no, so whilst they're lining up those penalties, you're right. Like, I get what frustrates me is I understand like the prestige of playing for a big club, but I mean, surely playing regular football, that says more about a player than wanting to sit on the bench for Manchester United. I don't know. That's just me personally.
When you consider that he was he was playing that well last year for West Ham, that he was in the England squad, he almost got selected in the Euros.
He should have got selected.
He arguably should have over by Bukayo Saka, but that's a story for another day. You're not going to get that chance to play in England sitting on the bench for United. Look at Donny van der Beek. He was lucky he got in the Netherlands squad. But.
For sure. As we've got the Brazil penalty taken up, and we all agree it's Richarlison, the best man to take this.
Fan, I hope he misses it because that was a shit penalty.
Yeah,
if
look.
He goes in, I might put him in my fantasy side straight away.
Sign him up. Yeah, it's.
Hey, that is one of the worst penalties you will see in 2021.
Oh my goodness!
I haven't seen it. I'm delayed.
Yeah, same. I'm delayed as well.
So let's talk it through. So he's waltzed it in. Things. He stutters and he just rollicks it over the bar. That is one of the worst penalties. Simone Zaza, anyone?
Yeah.
Anyone?
Yeah, it's up there. It's up there.
Remember? West Ham legend. So look at the stutter, and he comes in.
Penalty though, like he started off.
I don't understand with players like blasting penalties. All you have to do is just fool the keeper, make them think you're going one way.
If he puts that on target, it's in.
Well, this is like when you do a stutter, it basically baits the keeper every time. You wait for them to dive, then you just pass it into the net, the side they don't dive.
Unless you're like me, futsal, man.
What do you got to say, Pom?
Oh, I was going to say, it reminded me of a 2-2 draw in Weekend League, and then you get bad lag, and it's the deciding penalty.
Yeah.
And there's like a glitch just as you're about to press circle, and then it comes back and you've blazed it over the bar. That was shocking. I'm glad I haven't got Richarlison in your fantasy team. If you have, trade him out now.
Do we maybe think it was an act of good sportsmanship because he knew it wasn't a penalty?
Mate,
no, he tried to score that.
He wouldn't know what good
there's a difference between when it's good sportsmanship because they'll just pass it out, like they'll kick it, like they won't even aim at the goal. They'll literally their body shape will be completely to the side, and they'll just pass it out of play.
to be fair, again, I hope Brazil win, but that was karma. That was never a penalty. So I'm happy he missed it.
I think we can all agree. We can all agree that was never a pen.
I don't think you can count Richarlison's attempt as a penalty.
It's a shot off target too.
It's a clearance. It's a clearance, if anything.
That's like that reminds me of Pommy. Do you remember Tommy Rogic's penalty for Celtic? That was like people are making memes about. And it's like, oh, it's still traveling to the moon, you know?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's still coming down somewhere just in the park at the moment.
That's classic. It's a classic. But going on to our continuing on with our conversation about which teams we're looking forward to the most. I know, Josh, you said I wasn't allowed to say Manchester City, but obviously I love watching City play. To me, and this is going to sound a bit harsh, but because of my utter disgust for Liverpool, I'm actually looking forward to seeing Everton play because I know how much it annoys them. So
watching them at the moment, they're pretty crap. So
I'd love to see Everton have a good season. I've got no love for Manchester United, but I always do have love for them when they play against Liverpool. So I'd love for you guys to have a good season too. As far as like the mid-range to lower teams go, I'm very much looking forward to seeing Leeds capitulate. That would be lovely. That would make my dream. I would take West Ham finishing 16th if it meant Leeds getting relegated again. But no, I think you can't go past Leicester City. They're a class act on and off the field. But I know I've named about 10 teams there, but I just love the Premier League, so I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of it.
Who's while I got you on there? Your three tips for relegation. For me, I think it's Brighton. Now that they've lost Danny Ings, Southampton, they don't have Danny Ings, they don't have a striker. So I can.
Yeah, that is the worst. You talk about the worst penalties of all time. That was the worst corner of all time.
Oh, yeah. I reckon Brighton. They let Matty Ryan go. So that keeper Sanchez. I don't rate him. Arsenal. No, I'm kidding. Wouldn't surprise me though. Southampton after losing Danny Ings, definitely. I don't see them going anywhere. I hope Brentford stay up, and I can kind of see maybe Newcastle getting relegated, to be fair. I like them, but I don't rate Steve Bruce. I really don't.
Brendan, your three?
Southampton, Brighton, and Brentford, I think, will be the three that go down. I think Watford will struggle. And but I generally think they'll be the three teams that go down.
Or Palace.
Pom?
Nah, Crystal Palace. Nah, they've got Zaha. They're fine. As long as they keep Zaha, they're fine. And it's the same with Newcastle with St. Maximin. As long as they keep St. Maximin, they're fine. Like they won't get relegated.
The first part of the season.
Yeah, well, they won't get relegated with players like that in their squads.
Pom?
Norwich, Wolves, and Palace will go down.
Wolves, yeah.
Oh, I'd love that.
Wolves is a shout because they lost Rui Patricio to Roma.
You're speaking my language there.
Yeah, Jose Mourinho signed Rui Patricio.
Jesus.
I thought Tottenham were going to sign him because Nuno. I thought Nuno would have taken Rui Patricio with him, but he didn't.
So my three, I can't look past Norwich. I think they'll just do what they always do. They'll finish last, they'll go down, and then they'll come back straight back up the next season. So we love Norwich every 2 years. I'm actually thinking Burnley. I'm thinking Burnley are a chance to go down. I love Dyche and what he does, but they just don't have the money. I think they struggled towards the end, and I think they're a chance to go down. And you know what? I'm going to go out on a whim. I'm going to say Leeds will go down. There you go.
Yeah. Look at
Beelzebub has got to come to an end at some point. It has to.
Yeah.
Beelzebub. It's got to come to an end, and I'm tipping it comes to an end this season. They've lost a lot of players, and I don't think they signed, a couple, but was it Firpo from Barcelona? Is not too bad.
He's good.
But Nah, I'm
Yeah.
I'm tipping them to. Here we go. I'm tipping them on the final day to go down. There we go. I don't know who they play. I don't care. But the final day they go down. There we go.
Yeah. What do
Write
we?
that down. Write that down, Josh.
I've got it. I've got it here. I've got a question for Faz though, and everyone else can answer it too. But so obviously, I haven't heard that West Ham have signed a striker yet. But if they haven't, what do you think of Ollie Watkins? Because now that Danny Ings is at Aston Villa, you know, Ollie Watkins was their best player besides Grealish, their best player last season, arguably. You know, he was leading the line. Now they've got Danny Ings. There's no way Danny Ings would have come in there and be told you're sitting on the bench for Ollie Watkins. You know, so I have a feeling.
Ollie Watkins starts ahead of Danny Ings, surely.
I reckon, but I don't think Danny Ings would have come into the club being a number 2 when he could stay at Southampton. You know, so
Can they play together?
If he does want to leave, would you take him at West Ham?
Oh, mate, anyone who can kick a goal, I take at West Ham. We don't have a striker in our books at the moment. We literally don't have a striker. He's not a striker, mate. He's playing striker. He's not a striker.
If you could sign one of the two, Danny Ings or Tammy Abraham, who would you take?
Tammy. What a goal.
Let me think.
Bruno.
Danny Ings. He's more West Ham. He's more West Ham than Tammy.
Yeah. I have to say, guys, on this other game I'm watching, Everton look like they're going to be shit this year.
Good.
Yeah. I kind of want to see them do well, only to stick it up Liverpool because they've got Rafa Benitez. But you hear all the Everton fans when he was signing saying, "Don't sign. We know where you live," and all that. Like,
oh, yeah. Look, I mean, so what I was saying before.
Liverpool are in a world of trouble apparently at the moment.
With what?
Apparently, there's rumours Henderson might leave, and a lot of Liverpool fans saying if Henderson leaves, that's it. They've got no leadership in their team, and they're just going to capitulate. Because remember, they've lost Wijnaldum to PSG. Yeah, Van Dijk's a leader, but like Henderson's a different kind of leader. Like, he's a different kind of leader. He's like Gerrard. Gerrard was a different kind of, like, Jamie Carragher was a leader, but Gerrard was a different kind of leader. It's kind of like that, and like and they've got no midfield now. Like, James Milner is pretty much the only player they have, apart from Henderson, because Wijnaldum's gone to PSG. Thiago's not that good, let's be honest. He kind of flopped. And who else do they have?
What a goal.
Fabinho. That's it. They've literally got Fabinho, and that's it.
Hold on, we've got the goal here. It's Brazil at the death.
That is a goal. Jesus.
At the absolute death.
Is that Jesus?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Jesus. Look, we can all agree that they've had the ascendancy in this last part of this half. We've had the crosses come in, kicked back in by Richarlison. The Spanish defence needs to do better there, and he just gets on and puts it back in the back of the net with a low finish. What a great finish!
That's not Jesus, is it?
No, it's not.
Mo Salah with the cross.
That's a wonderful finish. Do we think the Spanish defenders could have done better there, though?
Yeah.
Pom?
I think you don't want to let the ball fall in your penalty area, do you? And no one even put any pressure on that. So, not great defending, but good finish.
Yeah, great finish right at the death as well of the first half. So Brazil will take a 1-0 lead going into half time.
Hey, Pom,
you can't say they haven't deserved it.
As our Scottish expert, what do you feel after? I know it's only after seeing how badly they've done, and I hope not. But do you see Ange Postecoglou being sacked before the end of the season?
What a great comment! In fact, what I will say before sorry to cut you off, Pom. I just want to wait till half time because I think this could be a put your feet up and let's listen to Pom at his best. What do you reckon? Because we spoke about this, and this is. Mate, this is something I look forward to. So, without further ado, Ange Postecoglou, Pommy, you're up.
Well, I'd be very surprised to see him survive to January. I think Firstly, I don't want to be positive of him because he's Celtic, so you make your bed, you lie in it. But let's be honest, he has been dicked by the board. They're not helping him out. But yeah, Celtic, for that job, you need about 2 years, I think. And there's no way on hell, God's green earth, Celtic are going to give a foreigner more than 6 months. It won't happen. It won't happen. If you're a foreigner coming into the Scottish League, you hit the ground running or you hit the scrap heap. There is no way they'll see it out. And I think, thankfully, it's probably Rangers' best signing, Ange, because at the moment he reminds me a little bit of a chubby David Teague. It's good to see because they are in all sorts of hurt at the moment.
They're in trouble. They are in trouble. So
trouble.
Let's just say, hypothetical, in a different world, in a different realm or universe, Postecoglou gets a sack. Could you see David Moyes taking over Celtic?
Would he want it?
Well, I mean, the talk was they had Eddie Howe sewn up, which always makes me laugh. And evidently, at the last minute, Celtic pulled the agreed price and tried to lower it. So I always think that's weird. But I mean, obviously, David Moyes is an ex-Celtic by himself. He fits the bill. He's Catholic, so he fits the fan base. They'll need time. You need time for that job. So someone like David Moyes would be granted a bit of time. Like because to take my Rangers hat off, we want Celtic to be strong. There's something brilliant about beating them to the league title. And this year, I would be shocked for them to finish top 3. I will be shocked if they make third based on how they're playing in the preseason and the first game. They looked shocking. So interesting to see. But Moyes would be a good pick. If I was Celtic, I'd want Moyes, I'd say he does the job.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he'd be good there. But yeah, it'd be interesting. A bit of a changing of the guard if Celtic aren't finishing, like you said, in the top 3. But from what I've seen of them in their qualifiers and stuff like that, their first game, they've just looked a shell of themselves. If they weren't wearing the green and white hoops, you'd be thinking they were just a pub team. Seriously.
To be fair though, like Pommy's right. They screwed Postecoglou. It's like kind of reminds me a bit of Wayne Rooney and Derby. How they've got like absolutely no good players and they expected him to do something. It's like I kind of feel he must have been promised the world and not got anything, because why would you go into the job with that group of players? Like, I don't rate Hibernian, but Hibernian looked 8 times better than what Celtic are to me. And I don't even watch the Scottish League. That's just from what I've seen, But it's like, I feel for him. He's been given basically the impossible job. It's like if he went to North Melbourne and was expected to win a premiership this year,
It's funny you mentioned Hibs, Australia's own, Boyle.
Boyle. Jackson Irvine.
Boyle, who's stepped in the country maybe twice, but he's Australia's own. So
doesn't know the song.
We love him at Hibs. He said, "Australia, where's that?" But he represents us. So
Andrew's been backed in the last couple of weeks. I mean, there's talk that Edouard is going to go to complete his move to Brighton, and they're bringing in James McCarthy. And the legend that is Jabalanak, who they've been chasing for about 2 years. And that's evidently who he agreed when he took the Celtic job. Evidently, that was all going to be signed, sealed, and delivered. So interesting, because that was the talk. His first press conference for Celtic did pretty much confirm that Edouard was leaving. Replacements were coming in, and he got there, and Edouard reports for pre-season duty. So, great start. However, if anyone wants to laugh, Celtic's YouTube page, it's got Angie's first training session. Some of the funniest stuff you'll ever see. So, honestly, it is banter at its finest. I enjoyed I had a couple of beers, having a chuckle, and asking Rangers if I could order my Champions 56 shirt already. They said no, but yeah, poor.
Love that. And as I just said, a late appearance from our good friend Jules. How are you, mate? Yeah, for sure, man. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Saints just won, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah,
what's on the agenda today? What are we talking about?
Well, we're just it's obviously half time of the gold medal match, and it's Brazil 1-0.
Yeah, I just looked up on the internet.
Yeah, and we're just talking about
I was back.
Yeah, talking about the Celtic.
Give me five, guys. I'm just going to go quickly to grab a drink and go to the toilet.
No worries. Yeah, so we're just talking about Celtic and their and under Ange Postecoglou, how they're struggling a bit.
So far.
Yeah, and Dan was loving it, obviously.
Like, this is a Rangers fan.
While we got you, I want to put the Harry Kane situation to you. What are your thoughts on that? Like, that player missing training for and I already said what you said. If it was Paul Pogba, everybody would be cutting his head off. But missing training.
I gave my thoughts on that a couple of streams back. Yeah. I can kind of see why people are upset about it. You know what, with the money's being paid to basically do nothing. But I can kind of see why he's trying to force his way out of the club. And my main issue here is with the Tottenham management with Daniel Levy, because they're basically, I mean, holding him hostage is probably a very excessive term, but they're fighting to keep him under a contract he doesn't want to be under. And I get that he kind of, he signed, what was it, a 3, 4, 5 year deal?
6-year deal.
Yeah, he committed to be with the club until the end of his contract, but he's obviously now at a point where he wants to move on and do other things. And I think Tottenham are doing damage to themselves by keeping him, because they're paying wages to a guy who clearly doesn't want to be there. And they could also, I mean, even in the COVID climate, I think they got money for a transfer. So I think, like, I'm not defending Kane. I can see where the criticism is coming from. I do agree that we'd be much more harsh criticism if it was Pogba doing it. But I think this is Tottenham probably primarily created by the Tottenham management.
Yeah, and I think you're right. We had that chat earlier, and look, I think it is a conversation that will divide opinions, as I said before. But
this stuff always does.
Yeah, whether you're on the supporting Kane or supporting the club or whoever you're supporting, I think no one can argue that if you've got a job, you front up, you do it, and you just put your best foot forward, and what happens at the end of the day. I mean, I don't want to go too grim here, but we're talking about a situation where people are losing their jobs, people are losing their businesses, and he's lucky enough to be in a position of
he's lucky
power.
To have basically guaranteed money.
Yeah, exactly. So the least he could do would be to front up and just.
I have another kind of concern. Well, maybe not concern / question. If he actually does show up to training and he shows up for match days and whatnot, and he's playing for a club he doesn't want to be at, is there the concern that his performances won't be at 100%, and that'll hold down the club?
Well,
because you're putting him at that number 9 position, hoping he'll get goals, and it's probably, if he's not at 100% because he doesn't emotionally want to be at the club anymore, he's not getting as many goals, which obviously brings the team morale down. So,
yeah, look, I can speak firsthand on this, supporting West Ham, and I don't know if you guys remember Dimitri Payet.
I vaguely heard the story, but yeah, keep going.
Yeah, so he came to West Ham, relatively unknown as far as Premier League football went, obviously, and came absolutely dominated, was even nominated for Ballon d'Or and all that. And then the following season, it was a massive fallout. He wanted a pay rise, and we couldn't afford it, so he wanted to leave, and he still rocked up to training and all that. But exactly what you were saying, he was selected on game day, just stunk it up. There was times he was on the bench, and Slaven Bilic turned to him. He's refused to come on. There's players. Mark Noble has been on record saying that the morale of the team was shot. Effectively, a player like Dimitri Payet put the club back 2 or 3 years, and in my opinion, he cost Slaven Bilic his job, because he was the golden boy. He was the star, the superstar at West Ham. And when he refused to play, Bilic, he was
these
caught.
kind of players. Like I'm not going to defend Kane's actions, but you do get these sort of I'm bigger than the club type characters every so often. You need to offload them quicker, sooner rather than later, because the longer they stick around, the longer they bring the rest of the team down with them.
And I'd hope Harry Kane
are in a position where they can't really afford someone to bring down the team morale, because if you look at sort of the fall from grace they've had since the Pochettino years, they've gone from
they could be looking at bottom 10 finish.
Well, he has in was it 4 or 5 seasons ago? They were only like 7 points off of a Premier League title when Chelsea won it under Conte, and now like 5 years later, they're looking at mid-table finishes. The last thing they need is some guy bringing down the morale of the club. I think they need to sell him and invest in someone who actually truly wants to be there.
Yeah, I'd like to think that Harry Kane isn't like that, like a Dimitri Payet. Like I'd like to think Harry Kane has a bit more. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure of the word, but a little bit more sensitivity in that regard. Yeah, integrity. That's a great word. Okay. Being who he is, literally the most recognisable face in English football.
The face of English football, basically.
Yeah, I'd like to think he would have that integrity. But I mean, the West Ham alone. I mean, the league itself is riddled with players. I mean, I can think of Payet, Marko Arnautovic both did the same thing. Sebastian Haller, they all
like that.
Depay, Di Maria.
Yeah, you just got players. Alexis Sanchez. You just got.
He was like that.
Yeah,
United,
he did. Depay joined United. I think he was the best thing ever.
Oh, I thought you meant didn't lock up the training. Sorry, yeah.
No, we're talking about the players who think they're bigger than the club.
Yeah, what the attitude players like David Beckham.
On that, right? As a United fan, this has happened a lot under Ferguson. That's the best part about Alex Ferguson. Players, David Beckham, for example, Roy Keane, I think it was, David Beckham, Ronaldo to a certain extent. Ronaldo obviously wasn't outspoken, but they all said how they wanted to leave. And especially with David Beckham, right? Arguably United's best player at the time, right? He said to Ferguson he wanted to leave. He was basically trying to get the dressing room on his side, and Ferguson said, all right, piss off then, and sold him, But I don't think that Tottenham are in that position, because what player half as good as Harry Kane is going to want to join Tottenham, especially if Harry Kane leaves? I think you make
a great point.
They're not that sort of like high-profile club that can attract. Like Manchester United, even in a down period, they can still attract some pretty decent players just off of their name value.
Even
Tottenham's
Arsenal can do that.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But like Tottenham, Arsenal, Liverpool, they can do that sort of thing. I don't think Tottenham are in that sort of position. They don't have that level of leverage.
No, but I think Josh is right in what he was saying. In that regard, as we welcome Pom back, what player as good as Harry Kane is going to want to go to Tottenham? I'll use the Declan Rice, and I only use this because I'm aware of the situation. I use the Declan Rice metric, and I call it the Declan Rice metric because I say no one in their right mind agrees that Declan Rice is worth over £100 million. However, he is worth that to West Ham because we have the English tax, of course, but because if West Ham were to sell Declan Rice, who on earth could they possibly bring in to replace him that is willing to go to West Ham? It's the Gareth Bale scenario all over again, leaving Tottenham. The Harry Kane, he is going to leave a massive hole in that club if he leaves. They might not recover from it. It literally might be they're looking at bottom 10 finish if they can't replace him. And I agree with what you said, Jules.
They're looking Josh, with him at this rate.
Yeah, well, who is good enough to replace Harry Kane? Even if they get all the money in the world, who is going to want to go there of that quality?
Yeah.
Well, I want to make sort of one more argument, sort of quasi in favor of Harry Kane. He's been with the club since basically he was like a youth prospect. He's been there season after season. He's been banging in 25, 30 goals a season, and in return, he hasn't really seen the benefits of that in terms of a Champions League or in terms of a Premier League or anything like that. So the way he's kind of acting now, it could just be a case of him sort of thinking consciously or subconsciously, I've had so much commitment to this club. I've invested so much in the club, and in return, I haven't reaped the rewards in terms of silverware. So now I'm at that point where I don't feel like I need to really put as much, show as much dedication to the club. And that could kind of explain why he's kind of having a bit of a sulk and, skipping training and whatnot. That could be a factor as well. Like this could just be frustration with years of committing to a club that's not getting him what he wants.
Yeah, I think you make a good point there.
That could be a partial factor. I'm not saying it excuses the behaviour.
No. I think that's a very real factor because you see it time and time again. You know, in all sports. You know, when clubs are discussing contracts, they sign with us and we'll sign X, Y, and Z, or we'll put these things in place. And when it doesn't happen, or even managers say, "Hey, sign this contract and we give you a £50 million budget," and it ends up being a £35 million budget or whatever. You see it happen all the time. So I think you're right, Jules.
The same thing with Pogba. He was given 89 mil. He was bought for 89 mil from Juventus, and I saw this thing of you'll be the star, you'll be the franchise, sort of the face of the Manchester United brand. You'll win championships, you'll win the Champions League, blah blah blah. And none of stuff came to fruition, and it started to impact his attitude. And also, you had the thing with Mourinho. So, what happened with Pogba? I sort of now see happening to Harry Kane. The thing with Pogba has happened much sooner. It happened within his second season at the club. Whereas with Harry Kane, he's held out for 4 or 5 seasons. And just one sec. Kane's held out for 4 or 5 seasons. Just seems to have finally gotten to him, and now he just doesn't care anymore. But Josh, going.
Will Zaha, he's a prime example. Like the guy, basically, he wants to leave Crystal Palace every bloody year, right? He's like Harry Kane in the sense that, or Declan Rice is used in the term that if Crystal Palace lose him, they're going to get relegated. Like he's now maybe not because they have Eze, but he was the only player keeping him up, right? And Paul Pogba as well. I don't know if he wants to leave. His agent says he does, but Pogba hasn't said anything. But those two players, Zaha and Pogba, seem like the type that would do what Harry Kane's doing, was if they don't want to be there, not rock up the training. But it's the other way around. Like Harry Kane, the one player you would expect not to do, it's the one doing it, And I don't know if everyone watched the interview with Gary Neville, but if you watch that when he was playing golf, he sounded like that Daniel Levy was going to agree for him to leave, like they agreed on it. Like he thought he was leaving. From what it sounded like, he honestly thought that he was going to be allowed to leave. So I kind of, maybe it's the shock of, they're not letting him leave and he's fed up. He doesn't think of anything else. But again,
that's the difference with him and Zaha. Zaha hasn't really been given sort of unfulfilled promises from Crystal Palace, and also
what could they promise him? What could Crystal Palace honestly promise him?
But I'm not saying Crystal Palace are a sort of a high-profile club that can promise him silverware. What I'm saying is he came to that club kind of knowing what he was getting into. It's like, okay, I'm going to be with this club. I'm going to keep him, out of the relegation zone, but there's going to be no silver at the end of it. Whereas Harry Kane probably had these unfulfilled promises of, you'll get us Champions League, you'll get us this, you'll get us that, and then that never ended up happening. And then
especially when they finished just behind Chelsea.
Yeah, that as well. And then he got promised, based on this Gary Neville interview, he was apparently promised a transfer from Daniel Levy, and that never ended up happening. So I think the difference between him and Zaha is Zaha wasn't given those, putting aside that Crystal Palace aren't as big of a club as Tottenham, he wasn't given unfulfilled promises or misled on a potential transfer, and that's what has probably contributed to him being more loyal to that team than what Harry Kane is to Spurs.
To be fair to Spurs, though, Harry Kane, they've made three major finals. Was it 3 finals or 2, whatever it is? Every time they've had a chance to win something, Harry Kane's never showed up. So
it was a Champions League final, I think a League Cup final, and what was the other one?
I don't know, but he's never showed up for either of them. So
the Euro final this year.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not club level, but that's still a final.
Look. I mean, talk about Wilfried Zaha. I mean, we know exactly. I'm to steal Pommy's line. You make your bed, you sleep in it. We all know the story of what happened with him at Manchester United. So, in my opinion, he can. What happens with him. So, I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't know. I understand the comparisons, but to me, Will Zaha's career is his career based on his decisions because of what he did at Manchester United under David Moyes.
What exactly did he do? I'm not familiar with the story.
I don't know if this is the right platform to explain what he did. I'll text it to you.
Okay, okay.
If it has
to be part of the conversation, that's fair enough.
Yeah. I'll send it to you in chat. But yeah, anyone can look it up. But this is not the platform for me to be raising that. But I'll send it to you because it is quite a sensitive story. But Yeah, so to me, the Zaha situation is very different to the Harry Kane. I do understand the comparison. Look, I'm going to be frank. We've been speaking about bloody Tottenham and bloody Harry Kane for too long. As the host of this show and as a West Ham fan, I say we move on.
No, fair enough.
Yeah.
I kind of I didn't know how long you've been talking about it. I just dragged on because I was just new to the conversation.
That's
but if you want
good,
to move
mate.
on, we can move on.
Jules, what about for you? Who are your 3 teams to get relegated this year? We've already raised that, but I just want to hear Jules's.
I'm probably going to say Brentford since it's their first season up. I'm probably going to go Norwich because they always seem to get relegated. And my third would be probably Burnley.
Yeah, I hate Burnley.
Good call.
Yeah, so Burnley, Norwich, and Brentford are my 3 relegated teams.
I think we all agree it should be it should have been 2-0 there to Brazil. Offside, interesting call, maybe just slightly, but Anthony, mate, he's causing him. Oh, he's well offside. That's a great call from the linesman. Sorry, he's well offside. You know what frustrates me?
Anthony's got the finish in there of a celebrity, and I'm a celebrity in one of their challenges, hasn't he? I mean, that is
like the celebrity charity matches.
Yeah.
It must be Usain Bolt. All show, no finish.
He should have finished, but in the reality, I mean, this raises one of my questions and one of my issues. How do we feel about the way football's going with the linesmen or assistant referees, what we call them now, waiting to raise their flag? I mean, that was the most blatant offside ever, but we had to wait until the passage of play before they raise it.
Yeah.
I've noticed more since VAR was the thing.
Yeah, I think that's where it's coming.
They don't want to raise it too early because it can get overturned.
Yeah, correct.
There is a rule that actually says it's not until the receiving player touches the ball that they're actually flagged for offside. Like there is that, but I've noticed more of these late flags when VAR. I think VAR has just intimidated those referees. How
did that happen, Pom? Talk me through it.
I'll tell you what, if you've got Richarlison and you're thinking about him in your fantasy side, I am beginning to think this guy could not hit a cow's ass with a banjo from 2 meters away.
Well, yeah, so talk us through it, Pom. So he's in there. He's one-on-one with the keeper. He could go either side, and what does he do?
I haven't seen it. Shit.
Absolutely shot. What makes it worse is he didn't even follow up. Him and Anthony, the ball is
they just watched it
totally in the air, and they've just stared at each other, wiping each other's noses. Absolutely shocking.
Well, Spain have got to pull their finger out because Brazil, they're looking like ending this game pretty rapidly. I mean, it was a good save by the keeper onto the crossbar, but Richarlison has to finish there. Has to.
I'll tell you what as well, if you're the centre-back and you're thinking about swapping shirts with Richarlison, don't, because he's wiped his nose just in that passage of play 6 times.
in a COVID
I mean, to be fair,
situation.
it was actually a really good save from the goalkeeper.
It was like
a great went save. Between his legs and it hit his back leg. Like that's just unlucky.
You got to finish it though, Brendan.
I mean, he's taken the touch there a lot. That's bottom left-hand corner, and he's gone for Hollywood.
He's gone straight. We should have gone left. Brendan, you of all people should know. He should have gone a bit. Let's have a look. He's taken the touch, and he's gone straight. He should have gone left. Us experts here,
But his body shape, because of the Cruyff turn, he would have missed if he went for the bottom corner.
Good turn,
in my opinion, he would have shanked it because of the way his body. It's kind of the shot he took was the only option. It was either that or go to the right, like further into the right, get it in, like right in the near post.
I might change my tip to Everton getting relegated.
No, Everton won't get relegated.
Well, I'm surprised the way they're playing.
I mean, if Pickford plays how he plays in the how he played in the Euros, they won't get relegated.
He was great.
I mean, Richarlison's finishing at the moment's like Stewie Jew in the salad bar.
Just non-existent. Just the old side swipe.
Is James still at Everton?
Yeah, he's still there.
Well, they need him, especially that. Obviously, I won't get into it, but especially now they won't have Gylfi Sigurdsson. They're going to need James.
Okay,
that's if James shows up. He's not a consistent player.
I'll just stop you there, Josh. We're not going to bring up Gylfi Sigurdsson.
No, I'm not bringing it up. I'm just saying
that. Josh actually clarified. I don't want to get too far into it.
Yeah, good. That's all right. Because it's just like, oh god, That's the old.
I'm not going to talk about it. I'm just saying they're going to need hammers, but
Yeah.
If
In
Hammers
terms
shows
of- I
up,
think
he probably won't.
what you guys were talking about when I came back about Harry Kane, I think it's interesting. So I remember, I don't know if anyone's watched the Tottenham documentary on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I have.
no. I couldn't
I've
be
heard of
bothered.
it.
If you
I
remember,
haven't even watched
Christian
Tottenham until I
Eriksen,
die.
Daniel Levy
Yeah.
promised him he could leave, and there
Yep.
was them issues that Inter came in, and Daniel Levy didn't want to accept the deal, and there was that agent meeting where he's like, "Well, you promised me I can leave. They've offered the deal," and eventually it was settled amicably because Jose got involved and said, "Look, we've got to let him leave." I do wonder if a bit of that's gone on with Harry Kane, that Daniel Levy's tried to reject the original bid because Pep was adamant they're in for him. So you'd imagine Pep does his business early. He's put the bid. I wonder if a little bit like that's gone on, that the bids come in. Daniel Levy's trying to play a bit of smoke and mirrors. Harry Kane's found out. That's what's caused the furore, because we know Daniel Levy has history in rejecting deals after promising players.
He's a prick.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think it's a great point what you say, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if this is a deal that, and I mean, Daniel Levy could back himself into a corner unless they sign someone, quickly, but this could be a deal that literally goes down to the deadline. And you can see Harry Kane walk, a brilliant on Sky Sports, as the Harry Kane's Lamborghini rolls into Manchester City or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I'm on the fence with this one. I can honestly see him not playing for Tottenham again, but I also can see him rocking back up there like nothing's changed. So it's an interesting one. So
I want to put this though. Would that affect? So obviously, if I can, I'll use you as an example, Faz. If you were at work and you knew there was a teacher that wasn't happy, that wanted to leave, and they were upset and they weren't showing up, and you had to take their class and stuff, and just being an absolute prick about it, that would affect morale amongst the teachers, I'm guessing, right?
Of course.
And so imagine how his teammates would feel, and especially like if he does come back, it's like, why the fuck would we want to give you the ball? You don't want to be here,
Look, I guess I understand your example. My rebuttal to that would be my success isn't reliant on another person, whereas in a football team, you'd be like, well, shit, I'd much rather have Harry Kane up front because it means I'm going to be more successful. Do you know what I mean?
True.
So
I get he wants to play though. He could literally come out and just stand on the halfway line and go, I'm not doing nothing.
He won't do that. Surely not. I mean, he's the captain of England, for God's sake. Let's just look. I mean, I'm about ready to change the name to the bloody Tottenham show or whatever. Like, let's just give Harry Kane
we meant to get back on the Kane show. We're trying to avoid it.
the Kane train.
We've talked about Harry Kane more than we've talked about Messi, for crying out loud.
It's a big issue, though. To be fair,
it is a big issue, but you know what? They can.
Oh yeah, Messi. He's actually left Barcelona, hasn't he?
Yeah,
he's been forced out of Barcelona. He hasn't left willingly.
I heard Popovich trying to sign him in victory.
Apparently, he's not renewing his contract. Is he at Barcelona?
Yeah.
Well, the club and him agreed on terms for the contract.
Apparently that changed.
But La Liga said no. La Liga basically cut it. Yeah, they shut down on it. So
I heard a good scenario that one of my mates put a good scenario to me actually. I'll put it to you guys, see what you think. If obviously now City of Grealish, they've got about 100 cams, right? If they sign Messi, that's another one. But if I was City, the City Football Group, I would get Messi to Manchester City. Maybe you send Grealish back on loan for 2 seasons or something, or a season to Aston Villa, or let Foden develop, just so Messi can play. And then in 2 seasons, Messi goes to the MLS and plays for the City team in the MLS or something.
New York City FC.
Yeah, that's him.
If Man City sign Messi, Foden's being benched.
It would also depend on who better fits Pep's system.
Mate, Messi
he wouldn't bench Messi.
Messi might be a better overall player, but maybe Grealish fits the system better. You never know. It just depends on how.
He still would start Messi over Jack Grealish any day. You're talking about the best player to ever put on a pair of boots. You're not going to start Jack Grealish over them, unless you start Jack Grealish on the left and Messi on the right.
As much as
Harry
I like
Kane
Bruno,
through the middle.
As much as I like Bruno, if he signed for United, I'm sure they'd bench Bruno for him.
If Messi signed for United, they'd bench Sancho for him.
True. Anyway,
Yeah.
I don't see Messi.
Or they'd play
I see
Sancho on the
Messi
left,
on
Messi on the right, and they'd bench Rashford. That's
Wouldn't
probably what
surprise
they'd
me.
do.
Yeah.
Messi's going to PSG anyway, so
Well,
Mate,
it sounds
surely
like you're
PSG
right. Sky Sports are running with in the UK that they believe he's agreed a 2-year deal with Paris Saint-Germain.
yeah.
Surely Paris Saint-Germain going to break financial fair play.
That's
Like
what I mean. I
they signed
agree.
everybody. Like they've signed
Ramos.
Mbappe. They've got Ramos.
To be
They've
fair,
got
it's not about free
Donnarumma,
transfer list, though, is
Neymar,
it?
Di
Messi,
Maria.
you know what I
but
mean?
it's
They haven't
the
spent
wages.
a cent on transfers in and got 3 of the best players in the world.
Yeah,
that's
watch now.
insane.
Now Cristiano Ronaldo will hand in a transfer request like send me to PSG. I want to play with Messi. Watch, it'll happen.
They still won't win the Champions League.
They would. If PSG did a swap deal with
what
Neymar.
a finish! What
Talk
a
us through
finish!
Talk us through a
Haven't
Palm. It's
seen it.
obviously Spain. They're
Cross
going forward.
comes
It's
in
a wonderful
and,
cross. First time on the left, and it's 1-1.
And the boys we were talking about at the start, the Real Sociedad, Cristiano Ronaldo.
Love
Bit
it.
of Olazabal there. Look at that finish. Tell you what, back of the net. Look at the celebration as well, the audacity.
He just stand there. He's
Look
got
at
Ronaldo written all over
that.
him. Left-footed, first time left foot. Had a bit of Luke Shaw in the final about that.
It did,
Yeah,
it?
it's
Look at
better than
that.
Shaw's.
Absolutely.
That's a
rips
top
all
finish.
Jesus, game on
that.
now,
What's
boys.
even more impressive is he slid for that and then landed on his feet and then giving it large. Look, as he celebrated.
Game on.
I rate that.
Yeah, Pom's
One
wanting him
all,
at
30
Rangers.
minutes to go.
Pom's wanting him at Rangers now.
I could probably slot him in. I don't know actually. Would he displace Ryan Kent? I don't think so.
Alfredo Morelos, put him up.
Ryan Kent is a good player. He's linked every season. He's linked to the Premier League.
Is Morales good? I haven't watched him.
Yeah, he's super solid. Premier League striker, probably mid-table. He'd probably do a job for your Brightons or your Southamptons.
44.
Your West Hams.
7.
Yeah. Question
He'd be good at West
for
Ham. I'll
everybody
tell you
too.
what, Douglas Luiz there has dropped a headbutt.
Yeah. He's in trouble.
That was a
Luiz,
pure headbutt. That was proper South American flair, that.
He's in
Dropped a
trouble.
headbutt. And then he held his nose as well, like classic. The old, I've headbutted him, but he headbutted me.
Oh, that's like the West Sydney Wanderers Champions League final where the guy got tackled on the ankle and he went down holding his face.
We'll just see if
You're
Chris
describing
Beath,
every football tackle ever.
This game's going to go to
As if-
penalties, isn't it?
As if
Possibly.
the ref hasn't given
It's what, like the
anything to
64th
that.
minute or something?
Yeah, 60.
Chris Beath, he's bottled that, Chris Beath. I don't know how he hasn't given a card there.
Oh my God! Rangers have just gone 1-0 down. Dundee. Jamie
All he has to do
Robson
is
with
all he
one
has
of
to
the
do there is
worst
just
goals you'll ever see.
picture Bessar Barusha and he'll send him off.
So Pom, you were just talking about your beloved Rangers. What's happened, mate? It's not a good day for you.
Robson with probably one of the worst goals I've ever seen for Dundee. Dundee lead 1-0.
Is that a
Is that
practice
actually
match?
started
Or
over
is
there, or is
that-
that a friendly?
That's
That's
the
the
game.
second game of the league.
Oh, the league's already started. Nice. Wait, doesn't the championship start this weekend?
Yeah.
Tonight.
Yeah, starts the same week as the Charity Shield, which is in like a few hours.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, Pom, my condolences to you, mate. I hope you can. I hope they can get up.
let's hope so. I'm watching both games at the same time, and I just happened to see the camera angle change. To see that rubbish.
What do we think of the situation at Derby? It's something we haven't spoken about. The other day I got a report on my Twitter the other day that apparently Derby have said to all the players, they've given them a blank piece of paper to say, look, we don't know how much we can offer you because we don't have the money, but you need to sign this in order to be able to play this week. So we have idea of the numbers and stuff. I heard too that, I don't know if it's still going on, but apparently they were and they may, I don't know, it might not, I don't know, I haven't heard anything since, but like lose points or something because of financial fair play and stuff. And if that happens, it should have been last season because that's when they broke it, which then means that Wycombe Wanderers would have stayed in the league and Derby would have got relegated. So, you know,
the same thing with Sheffield Wednesday, like their punishment from the last season carried over to the next season.
Yeah, it's a tricky situation when it comes to docking points. We all remember, or those of us who are old enough, I'm sure Pom remembers, Portsmouth.
I remember that. I was a kid, but I remember it.
Yeah, getting docked. I think it was a couple of seasons in a row, didn't they? They started minus 10 points.
Yeah,
they got docked 12 the year they got relegated from the Premier League, and then they just went down to League Two from there.
Yeah, and
it was a league situation. They got lent a bunch of money that they couldn't pay back for transfers and shit.
Yeah, and you never heard of them again. As far as Derby go, I mean, I don't want to see clubs getting docked points. This is just my personal opinion. I don't want to see clubs getting docked points. We're talking about a global crisis that every football club is getting through, and to me, it's just going to divide. It's just going to make the gap between the best and the worst bigger. The rich teams are going to get richer, and the poor teams are going to get poorer. So I don't want to be seeing teams docked points because of that. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
I think teams should be given leeway from a financial standpoint in a time like this, because you literally, like, you have teams in League Two that can't sell tickets, which is like their main source of revenue.
I feel like the FA should say to, look, Man City and Chelsea, look, you need to go buy $100 million player from those clubs. You can delist him straight away, but you need to give him $100 million for a player. That'd be fair.
No, I'm with you. I mean, I also think what is harsh with Derby, I mean, you've got to remember they are an iconic football club as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're not dealing with Portsmouth. Like, we're dealing with a club that has some of the greatest history in England. Full stop. And the fact that they've got them under this transfer embargo as well, but then they can only sign free agents and limited amount of loan players as well, which puts them in more financial difficulty because at the moment they're just signing anyone who's on the free agent list. The threats of if they don't make a team, they'll get more points deductions as well on top of the points deductions they're already potentially facing. I think it's a great opportunity for the Premier League clubs to say, well, you know what, we'll loan some of our fringe players to you.
And, 100%.
What about the welfare distribution?
Do you know what I mean? The English Football League say they can have 8 loans. They can have 8 loans because it helps the football clubs out in the Premier League to get some top-end talent to play regular. Derby get to have a team. Because, I mean, at the moment, the rumours are they're signing Phil Jagielka. They've just signed Curtis Davis. I mean, that's a combined age of 102.
Yeah.
What if the FA enforced like a profit redistribution system where, like, say if you're like in the top 6, a portion of your profits have to go to like benefit League 1 or League 2? What if they did something like that? Could that maybe be a way? That could just be a way of like keeping these clubs from like basically going bust, because we've already seen like Bury and whatnot go bust.
Bury, that was sad, man. That was.
But I'm saying, like, to prevent more of that sort of thing happening, maybe we can look at redistributing the profits from like Manchester United or Liverpool or whoever.
No, I agree with you.
I mean, it wouldn't be a long-term fix. It's just a suggestion.
It's interesting.
It's weird because the top Premier League clubs bailed out a lot of the non-league clubs this year, and you've had Manchester donate to a few local non-league clubs. Both City and United have done it. I know Leeds have done it with Keighley and teams like that. It's weird that they don't have a system like that because Liverpool made billions last year. United did. And
does that happen in Scotland?
Pardon?
Does that happen in Scotland? What Jules was saying, like if say like Motherwell were in the same situation as Derby, I don't know how rich Rangers and Celtic are, but would they like try and do something, or are they all? Is it?
Well,
not really.
What I'm describing is like a form of taxation.
Had to fold and start a new team and start in Div 3.
Yeah, I remember that. That was like 10 years ago, wasn't it? When the previous owners or something were barred from. Their previous owners lost their license, I think.
Yeah, we basically did the old Leeds trick of gambling on European revenue and future shirt sales, and before you know it, the cash flow didn't work.
I heard about that because I had a well, we don't talk anymore, but I had a former friend who was a big Glasgow Rangers fan. He told me all about it.
Yeah,
and I do feel for Barry.
No one else does out. Everyone enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's an interesting, again, another topic that'll probably divide people. But I think the rich clubs kind of played their hand, and I know we've spoken about this earlier, and I by no means do I want to get in a conversation about this again, but I think the rich clubs certainly showed their hand and played their hand with the idea of the Super League as well. They certainly showed they don't give a flying rat's ass about anyone else in that regard. So yeah,
well, that's kind of the detriment of the game, isn't it? Where you have the biggest clubs being owned by basically oligarchs who don't even understand the history of the game.
Yeah, exactly right. So,
especially in the time, like with what's happening with COVID, it's creating a big sort of domino effect that it further proves that people like Smith and Henry and the Glazers and the Cronkies need to get the hell out of the game. It just further drives that point home, in my opinion.
Well, I guess if you said
it just further drives that point home, in my opinion.
Yeah, if you said that to the Manchester City, the Sheiks there, and you say, "Oh, can you donate to bail Derby out?" They'll be like, "Who's Derby?" Yeah, it's sad.
They'd be like, "Give us Harry Kane and we'll do it."
But the thing is, you can't. I mean, yeah, I get that. Those clubs will not be willing to sort of redistribute their own profits for the sake of a smaller club, but you can't have the situation where multiple clubs is going bust within the matter of a couple of seasons, especially when you consider that these clubs add tied to communities and are a big part of the lives of the fans of those clubs. You do have to find some way to keep these. If you look at the Barry situation, you have to find a way to prevent that from happening to more and more clubs, in my opinion.
Yeah. Coventry were another one. Wigan.
Macclesfield, I think they went bust last season.
Just a quick topic. Get off track a little tiny bit. Congrats to the Aussies too. The Boomers who got bronze medal. Paddy Mills for 41 points. I just thought I'd add that in there.
Yeah, I think
so far. I think we're third in gold or something.
Yeah, I think it's been a fantastic Olympics for Australia. Obviously, our wonderful swimmers have carried the load as per usual, but it is exciting to see the Boomers, after 3 Olympics in a row, finishing 4th, to finally get that elusive bronze medal. Unfortunately, having to meet USA in the semi-final, but to get that bronze medal, I think that's huge for Australian basketball. Not that this is the basketball show, but I think it's great to mention that.
When they're watching the Olympics, we got to shout it out. So
yeah, no, of course.
As well.
Sorry. Yes. Sorry,
yeah,
Jules.
We've won silver in hockey and women's beach volleyball.
Yeah. It's been a phenomenal Olympics.
Yeah, good. Yeah,
even I just saw we got silver. We got silver in high jump, which was Australia's first podium finish in high jump since 1964. So nice. That's magnificent in itself.
The Olympics has been bizarre. This Olympics, Italy won the 100-meter sprint for the first time ever.
Italy are the fastest people in the world at the moment. Italy, I saw that.
Usually it's the Jamaicans and Ethiopians who win that.
Yeah, Pom, how's Team GB?
I think we're just behind you in the medal table.
Yeah.
Why do they do that, Pom? Why do they have Great Britain, not Scotland?
You're 4th, we're 5th.
Just that's how we've always entered the Olympics. That is because technically it depends who you ask, but the country by definition is Great Britain and Ireland. But it's the only reason we don't have a football team is because of the fear that that's what will happen with the national teams. That's Scotland, England, and Wales will be forced to join as a team.
Great Britain fielded a women's team in football this year.
Yeah,
they had a men's team in a few Olympics ago. Actually, I remember
because they hosted the 25.
They had to one, but they only did that because they got a written agreement from FIFA that they wouldn't force them to ever do it again.
But also, Great Britain hosted the Olympics that year. I think they had to put a team in.
Yeah, because I had them on Football Manager.
Because that's when Ryan Giggs and Craig Bellamy were in that team. I think Sturridge was as well.
There was some great players. Marvin Soldell as well. Bolton Wanderers legend. He was meant to be the next big thing on Football Manager and ended up playing for Coventry and now currently playing his trade in North Division 5 or something.
He was
they were one of the favourites to medal and they didn't, I don't think, in that Olympics. But I think
they got knocked out by South Korea, I think. Penalties from
Yeah, Yeah, it's a great call as far as Team GB and the Olympics. That's why I've got a bit of a soft spot for the Commonwealth Games personally. I feel like it's just obviously being the Commonwealth and all that, but seeing those other teams feature in that. Team GB, I don't know, just I've got lots of family in England and stuff like that, and Pom, I'm sure you can relate to this maybe, but it's a bit sterile for me, Team GB. It's a bit of a nothing for me.
I get really into it. I've been supporting both of them. Been supporting the UK and obviously Australia. So I've had a pretty good Olympics because I think
double the medals for you.
I was going to say I think I've seen a gold in just about every event. So for teams that I'm supporting, but yeah, it's the Great Britain Athletics Association. So you do see the individuals, like you say, in the Commonwealth Games, which, in my opinion, I prefer the Commonwealth Games over the Olympics. I think it's a more fun and because there's a bit more rivalry in it. Do you know what I mean?
Like 100%.
Like when you're watching an 800 meter and it's Great Britain versus Russia, no one cares, do they? Because there's no historical rivalry.
Yeah, but also there's more of like individual representation of the Commonwealth because you represent like your own actual country, not a broader conglomerate of countries. Like
but
if you're Scottish, you represent Scotland, not just Great Britain.
But it's also as well, no America, no China. So, that as America and China generally take the glut of medals, it tends to be a bit more of an even field in the Commonwealth Games.
Does America win shooting every year? I think they do.
Oh, Josh.
I don't keep up with the shooting.
I'm being legit. I'm asking because I know China win the table tennis and that every year.
Oh, Josh.
Well, not every year.
Australia won it once, but
oh God.
What?
I mean, there's been some weird as hell events as well, hasn't there?
There has been too.
Oh,
the hockey,
the skateboarding really got me.
Skateboarding.
Apparently people are loving it. The skateboarding. It's like the first year that's been in it. People are loving it. I haven't really watched it personally.
I thought the two.
Tony Hawk would be fuming.
Yeah.
Actually, me and my mate were talking about this. The three, because I actually said that softball is officially the worst ever spectator sport I've ever seen. Absolutely horrendous. Legit,
not wrong.
The worst. But then the next day, we watched together the 3-on-3 basketball, and I said, "This is the worst spectator." But yesterday, I watched that rock climbing. What the hell is that about?
That's a sport.
Legit,
Yeah, it's officially a sport in the Olympics.
How is rock climbing in the Olympics, but a netball's not?
Yeah, I'm disappointed. I actually kind of enjoy netball. I'm disappointed it's an Olympic sport.
I was watching rock climbing and saying we're about 6 years away from having international watch-alongs or something. Do you know what I mean? This is an Olympic event. Like they just.
Oh, James, he's climbing fast.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like I was like, what a ridiculous sport. Because I was saying, imagine being in a pub and someone saying, "Oh, what do you do?" And the guy's like, "Oh, I'm a gold medalist." And you're like, "Oh, awesome. What do you do? Athletics." And he's like, "Rock climbing." You'd be like, "Piss off, mate."
You're soft-cock. Yeah.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Yeah, nice one, mate. I won the pool pub championships. Good one, mate. Yeah.
Tail whipping competition, right?
Watch. Eventually, MMA is going to be in the Olympics as well.
Yeah. Honestly, one of the worst sports I've ever seen, rock climbing. Like, how is that in the Olympics?
I think we can all agree. I think we can all agree netball needs to be in the Olympics.
Yeah.
I'm down with that.
How it isn't.
Like we've got.
You even have ice hockey. Like, what's the point of having hockey? Like, you have both field and ice hockey.
No, ice hockey's in the Winter Olympics.
Yeah, ice hockey's on the winter.
Because it's on ice, Brendan. So it's winter.
Yeah, but ice is going to melt. Okay, ice in the summer's going to melt.
You can have there's ice rinks that are open all the time.
Yeah, it's a winter sport, yeah.
It is a winter sport, but like
to watch.
See, Olympics is where all sports should be in the Olympics, right?
Yeah, even AFL.
No, because that's not a world sport. Hockey's an actual world sport.
What do you reckon, Pom? We get AFL in the Olympics. We can put Carlton out. They might win something.
Hey,
put poker in the Olympics.
Be a chance.
They'd find a way to lose it.
One of the best sports I've ever seen is at the Commonwealth Games is lawn bowls. That. We went to the 2002 Commonwealth in Manchester, And that was probably one of the best nights out ever because lawn bowls is brilliant just to watch and have beers and get chants. I remember chanting for Nigeria versus India, and we got really into it. I had no idea what was going on, but it was a really good night, and India got the result, which was good.
Well, funnily enough, but believe it or not, we are actually watching a game here, and we're into the final 10 minutes. It has been a bit of a lull, which is lucky. We've had some good conversations. It has been a bit of a lull the last, 15 or so minutes. But the final 10 minutes, 1-1. Where are we seeing it? Who's most likely, do we think, to get a winner, or do we think they're just going to hold off to the end?
I think it's gone to pens. I think it goes to pens. It's died down now. They're just playing around with it.
Yeah, probably just growing out till the 90.
But if we had to say one, Brazil. I think if anyone's going to get one, it'll be Brazil. I reckon they'll dive in the box and get a pen, like a dodgy pen like that Richarlison one. But
yeah,
he'll miss it. He'll miss it again.
And I don't reckon he'll take it.
He will, and he'll miss it again.
He should be nowhere near a penalty ever after his attempt.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of sports, it's going to make the Olympics in the future. What's the bet we're going to see pool in the future? 8-ball.
I wouldn't mind
and motocross
in the Olympics.
Me and my mate have been talking that we should have darts at the Olympics. Right?
That would be sick. Darts is good.
FIFA, esports. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I seriously esports. No one listened to me.
Brendan for gold.
Tokyo had it as one of the demos. I was listening to the commentator. They don't do the demo sports anymore, but Tokyo have put on an e-games thing to show the international committee of how popular it could be.
Fortnite at the World Cup. Fortnite at the Olympics.
Well, they play that League of Legends, don't they? Can you imagine that? League of Legends, Olympic gold medal.
Yeah. Josh, there's literally no video game I would win a gold medal on. Do you know how good people are at FIFA? Dude, geez, it's ridiculous.
Faz, you and me, we could do AFL Evo representing Australia.
Mate, I'll be well and truly on that. Don't you worry about it.
Apparently, that game is rubbish.
Oh, it is.
The graphics are rubbish. The mechanics in the game are rubbish.
First of all,
the sport's rubbish.
I don't know, Brendan. When Carlton won a flag for 8 years in a row, I found the game pretty good, just quietly.
Yeah, I was playing full forward for Melbourne and kicked 100 goals in a season, so...
You can't beat it.
I think AFL Live 05 on the PS2 was the last good AFL game, and then...
When it became AFL Premiership, went to shit.
Yeah.
Well, I've got kids, so I don't get to play much PlayStation anymore, so...
Yeah.
Since when did Kevin Muscat coach Brazil?
He did?
Oh.
No, he looks like the guy. Their manager looks like Kevin Muscat. He's in. Well, he wouldn't surprise me. He's in Tokyo. He's in Japan now, coach.
You're one more outlandish comment from being booted.
Imagine though, Kevin Muscat, Australian legend, head coach of Brazil.
Brazil, yeah.
Scenes.
Isn't he a Rangers legend?
He did play for them.
We have had a few Aussies as well. We also had Craig Moore, my favourite player growing up.
Because I remember, he was going to be Ange Postecoglou's assistant, and all the Rangers fans were hating it.
I was just going to say. I was just going to say, Pom, that's something that 6 degrees of separation. Craig Moore was my first ever favourite player.
Really?
Yeah. For Australia, yeah. When I was young, it was it must have been the Olympics when he represented the Olyroos in the Olympics, and I was a centre back myself, and I thought, and I followed him, and I loved it, and I followed his career from there, from when he played for Australia. My first ever favourite. So 6 degrees of separation, Pommy, the Craig Moore.
I have never heard anyone say I like Craig Moore, so I am honoured to find there's two of us. There's us two and his dad.
We could use Prime.
Yeah, his 3 biggest fans. Pommy, Faz, and his dad.
He was
I never watched him.
He's a World Cup goal scorer.
He was like Rio Ferdinand-esque at his prime.
Yeah.
Newcastle? I think he played for Newcastle in the Prem.
Craig Moore.
Yeah, I think he played for Newcastle United in the Premier League.
Yeah, that was Viduka, wasn't it?
I'm going to look it up. I'm pretty sure he played for Newcastle.
He certainly came back to the A-League. I remember that.
This game
for
needs another
Brisbane.
goal, man.
You're not wrong, Brendan. We're
Well,
talking
Boring.
shit.
International football is boring.
He played for Crystal Palace and Newcastle United.
Yeah. Good call. Good call, Jules.
Lewis. Good call, that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hang on.
I remember we sold him and we got him back.
He
And
played
he-
for
he
Crystal
was-
Palace in the first division. That was before the Premier League was even a thing. And he played in the English Premier League for Newcastle for 2 seasons. Then he went to Queensland.
Yeah. Hey, that's a
I
ripper
just can't-
call, Jules. Well done.
I just kind of thought of something. You know how you guys were talking just before I jumped on about the A-League and the growth of it and all that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you see maybe them, in order to keep it, obviously they've got to keep the salary cap. As much as I don't like it, if they didn't, it'll turn into the Premier League where Central Coast can't compete and City and Victory take it and Sydney take it all. But
You mean
like,
City and Sydney? Victory got no money.
Yeah.
So anyway, continue.
True. Yeah, but could you see maybe them bringing in? So what I like what the MLS do, and I know this only from Football Manager, but is like if you're say Pom's managing New York Red Bulls and I'm managing LA Galaxy, and I want one of his players, I can trade him a foreign international spot for one of his players. Or I know we don't want a draft, but they got drafts, but they do that. But like so, Sydney might trade City for Matt Leckie and give you an international spot.
I know what you're saying. So instead of having the 4 internationals, you get 6.
Yeah, because you've got someone else's.
It's an interesting concept.
Ooh.
I'm not entirely sure the A-League's ready for something like that.
What a
But
cross.
I do like the
domestic
idea.
development.
They're
I
going
think
to
it just
try
needs to be one
something.
international, like who's off the books. Like all
Yeah.
it takes is some decent excitement. Aussies got around Emil Heskey for Christ's sake. I mean,
Wilfred Bonny's coming to Victory.
No, he's not.
God, no! If he comes, it's gonna be Honda all over again. He'll
Nah,
suck.
he's good. I rate Bonny.
Good.
Honda was
Bonny.
good. He sucked at Victory. Well, after his injury.
I reckon
Oh,
they only need one player.
Wilfred, where has he played? I haven't heard that
City.
name in like 10 years.
Oh,
Yeah.
Manchester City.
No, he
Man City 10 years ago, mate. He's like 50 now.
Bonny played in the
31.
Saudi League, I think.
Did he?
I think he played
What a
Saudi League.
cross.
Or
That
like
almost found its way
cross.
into the top bins.
Yeah, no, yeah, that was a great cross, wasn't it?
He played
I've
for
Who's
got
on
to
the
say,
bench?
do you remember when
Yeah, he played in the
Wilfred
Saudi
Bonny
League.
sound for Man City?
Yeah.
How long ago was that? That was a long time. Like 17, was it? 16?
2015 he signed for Man City.
Yeah, 10 years
Jeez.
ago almost.
6.
What about
He plays
what
for
about
5.
Odion Igalo? Let's get Odion Igalo to the A League.
No. Look, I think Pommy makes a good point because, I mean, I look at the marquee positions for the A-League, and so I'll use Melbourne City as an example. How Jamie McLaren is a marquee position now, fantastic footballer, Australia's number 9.
Yeah.
You know, scores goals for fun in the A-League. He's not the type of player that you need to have as a marquee. The marquee needs to be someone who's going to sell shirts, someone who's
someone
going
you've
to
heard of for a start.
yeah, because you ask anyone outside of Australia, Jamie McLaren, say who's that?
Yeah, like his
Is that,
last.
the, is that the bloke? That, you know,
in any
so I
given
think
season, you'll have like 2 players at most that actually sell shirts. Like in the 18-19 season, who other than Honda was actually marquee? No one. Like Lafondra wasn't a shirt seller.
no.
Ninkovic wasn't
Well, again,
a shirt seller.
I mean, this is what makes me laugh. Again, I'm not going to be on the A-League bashing, but they sell it. Oh, Lafondra, ex-Premier League player, please. He played for
played one
Reading.
game.
He played for Reading in a season they got relegated, and he barely got on. He's a championship footballer at best. You know, this is like what Pom was
Yeah,
saying.
but that's
This
a big
is
deal for the A-League to have a former Premier League striker who got like 12 goals. Like for the A-League, that's a pretty big deal. It's not like
it is,
but for the A-League's like very low standards, a guy got 12 goals in a Premier League season. That's a pretty big deal.
Could you guys see? I
think-
just saw him on my.
Yeah, to me, I would say, to be honest, and I know he's a bit of a donkey and he's injured, but someone like Andy Carroll would be someone who the A-League should be looking at getting in as well. You know, someone like that who he would sell shirts.
All
Imagine if he went to
migrant
Newcastle.
Spain are on the front foot.
Yeah, but also the A-League
Yeah,
has
they're
trouble
looking
attracting shirt sellers. Like other than like they have your Del Pieros and your Hondas and
That would have
players like
been
but
if
it's
that
hard
had gone
to
in. What a
get
way to win the gold medal.
especially over climate.
That was a cracking shot. Off the crossbar.
It was a good shot,
Jeez.
Brendan.
I do agree with that, Jules. But
You're right, Jules. You're right. They've traditionally failed at that.
Tom, could you see maybe
attracting players?
I just saw him on the screen then. Juan Mata next year, maybe leaving United, going to the A-League. That would be. I tell you, that would sell some shirts. Juan Mata in the A-League.
I think all you need. Australia's got big business. Like it's sold as well. The A-League, believe it or not, is in multiple countries, so there will be revenue there as well. Like all it takes is just you can't tell me that there isn't businesses that would be happy as part of their sponsorship in exchange for sponsorship to put money up for some of these players. Like it's insane to think they wouldn't be, because it's the global game, isn't it? And let's be honest, what does Australia export to the world that anyone really cares about in sport? Rugby's not very popular outside of Australia. New Zealand hate NRL. So there's the two main countries for that demographic.
I think New Zealand love rugby, or they're just more union.
Different, union.
But I mean, and league is from where I'm from in the north, so we don't really care about the NRL. Like we've got our own league that's older than the NRL, so people are affiliated with that. Time difference for England is horrible as well. So I don't understand it. I mean, it's a good place to live, isn't it? Australia, big cities, big way of life, so it's just as attractive as China.
Land, not overly populated.
No, but the soccer season is in the best time of the year. Imagine being able to sit on the Gold Coast or Central Coast or whatever, playing football, mate. Living the dream. I see no reason.
Could we see somebody doing what Sam Kerr does? So when I don't know if she still does it. When she was in the A-League, I remember she doesn't.
I know what you're saying.
She used to play in the A-League, and then she'd loan herself out to like England and loan herself out to the US. So she was playing all year round.
That's more common in women's soccer because the seasons are shorter.
And now she's going to now she's going to boot winner for Chelsea in the Premier League.
Yeah, but she hasn't. She's actually permanently Chelsea. She hasn't loaned herself out.
Yeah, I know, because they play a lot.
Yeah.
Do you reckon Australia could pay her to play for the men's?
Yeah, I know, right?
No, but you look at Melbourne City, owned by Man City. Why? It only takes a few like little reciprocal agreements like that as well, and you change the whole ball game, don't you? You change the whole ball game.
Because I think we can all admit, when they were Heart, Melbourne Heart were really bad.
Rubbish.
They were destined to basically like go under if it weren't for the City buyout.
They were giving free tickets away in the paper. That's how bad they were. Like, and now they're like world class.
As a founding member of Melbourne Heart, I agree they were terrible.
Yeah, but like it was kind. One thing I want to say, like Melbourne Heart putting a second Melbourne team where Victory had already cornered the market was a bad idea. I think that the second Melbourne team should have been a West Melbourne team. It's like, we have Western United. It should just be Melbourne Victory versus a West Melbourne team, and then that should be a rivalry.
Mate, the Bellarine, mate, the Bellarine market is huge. But anyway, that's. Well, are we going to penalties?
Yep.
Probably.
That could be the worst 90 minutes. That's
the extra time
45 that I've ever seen.
Mate, what did you, Pom? You were the one who jinxed it, mate. What did you say at the start of the show? You're just like, it's going to be a ripper game, but it's destined for nil.
I hate to be rude, but that's funny.
Time? Yeah, that's what I said, didn't I? I said on paper it could be a good game, but it's destined to be 0-0. And
and mate, this second 45, I'm just
I'm trying to stay awake.
That's good. Is there extra time? No, it's just straight to penalties.
I don't think there is. No.
Oh, if it's straight to penalties, good. Thank goodness, because another 30 minutes of this rubbish.
In the women's, it's extra time, so it might be same in the men's.
Oh gosh, it's extra time then.
Hey!
Yeah, they're going to drag their asses for 30 minutes.
Full-time goals.
It's extra 30 minutes of this.
So here we go, Pommy.
Lost the first game in over a year and a half to Dundee United.
Oh. Well, bring in Ange. Is that what you're saying?
Do you know what I mean? Sack Gerrard, bring in Teague.
Yeah, getting sacked in the morning.
Bring Ted Lasso in. What do you reckon?
Oh, dear.
Or Led Tasso. Bring Led Tasso.
You know what's crazy? Everyone says that Gerrard's a better manager than Frank Lampard, when I find that hard to believe, because Frank Lampard actually did okay in the Premier League.
Gerrard's succeeded at a lower level. You can't compare the two.
Steven
He should
Gerrard's
go-
like a
He should
level-
go to Celtic.
He's so far ahead of Frank Lampard.
You're better off comparing like Lampard to Rodgers, honestly.
I honestly think Lampard should manage
Because Rodgers
Newcastle.
upgraded from Celtic to actually doing well in the Premier League at Leicester. So
I think Lampard would be lucky to manage at League One level.
Wait, what?
He got the Chelsea.
No
job.
way!
did you see how
Right.
bad Chelsea were under Lampard?
Yeah, he got
that
the-
wasn't.
he-
Look, they weren't bad. It was just a bad run of form. It happens. Like, look at Arsenal's bad
It
run of
was-
form.
Yo, Arsenal have a shit team.
He got the job
So?
on a technicality.
We were
Because
playing
he's a
Tony
legend.
Abraham at striker for crying out loud.
To be fair, it's like Oli, right? Oli had no reason to get the
Abraham.
United job. He got it on a technicality, like Frank Lampard. Although Oli deserves the job now, in my opinion. But what I'm saying is,
We
both of
won
them,
the
they-
Champions League due to Frank Lampard signings. If we didn't have Havertz, we wouldn't have won the Champions League.
yeah, but
Abraham
how did he
got-
get? He didn't play Havertz. He played
He
Mount
did.
instead.
Abraham
he
got
played
50
both
goals in
at
his first
times.
season, and he was like a youngster then. Oh yeah, second season was shit. 6 from 22. That's pretty bad.
What's going on here? Are they just going straight to penalties?
Looks like it.
They're up
I
against
hope so.
penalties.
Yeah, I
was
hope
gonna say
so
that
too.
they're like drawing straws and having the weirdest team talk if they're going out for the second half. For 2 halves of extra time.
Who wants to take the free kicks? George Dawes.
So, Brendan, am I keeping you up, mate? Sorry.
Nah, it's just
I
I don't like international games, man.
I thought you enjoyed my company, but that's all right.
I
do.
only really like the World Cup.
I do.
When Austra-
Yeah, the
When
World
Australia-
Cup's good. The World Cup's good.
I'll be honest. I would like to take this moment to thank you guys because the last couple of hours you've made me forget about how terrible Carlton were today. So I really
Oh, you
appreciate
should see
it.
my brother watching that shit. He was literally like screaming.
Well,
Charlie
They should just
Kerner
give
was
Spain
the
the gold
only-
medal
the
just
only
from the
decent
quality of the
player.
My brother
goals.
watches Carlton. He's like Mark Goldbridge, like worse.
You should have seen. You should have
I'm
watched
not
Palmer.
angry.
He was going off.
I love
I
Paul.
was a little bit upset, let's be honest.
Mate, Charlie Kerner was the only decent player out there.
I was a wee bit pissed off, I'll be honest.
No, it's comes with the territory. I think, unfortunately.
Please don't be extra time. Please
And
just go
that's just
straight to pens.
They should have started already.
It
What
is
the fuck they
extra
doing?
time.
Hey Dan, you know who Richarlison reminds me of? Lockie Plowman. Overrated as hell.
He's not overrated, man.
He
Richarlison,
reminds me
yes,
of
he is.
Levi Casbolt. He looks.
Oh yeah, yeah, yep.
He's not overrated. That's like saying Messi's overrated.
How could
Alright,
you
Messi
think-
probably-
Messi to
I can't
fucking
believe you
Richarlison.
put Richarlison in the same sentence as Messi.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like for where Richarlison is, it's not like he's not like a top 6 club in the world, right? He's in a mid-table Premier League side. For crying out loud.
Hey, he's lucky to be there.
No, he's not
like
lucky to be
Everton's
there. He's one of their
main
best players, mate. Lucky to be there.
No, that's probably
they
his
could
ceiling.
use
To be
him.
like Everton's striker or like a backup
He's better than James.
Arsenal. Yeah, Hammers is pretty shit.
Nah, it's
Shit,
extra
they're
time. I think it looks like
average.
extra time.
Yeah, it is.
Oh shit!
I'm excited about this. I can't wait to see another 30 minutes of these two quality football sides.
Exactly. They
Those-
should have
those-
just given Spain the gold medal just on pure beauty of the goals. Like, here you
have-
go.
you have to admit,
The
though,
goal you
consider-
score is more beautiful. Have the gold.
Considering Australia only lost 1-0 to Spain, and Spain are in this thing, we didn't do too badly.
I've
Well,
got to
I
say
mean-
though, this is the least.
To
talented
be
Brazil
fair, we
side.
beat Argentina, then lost to Egypt. That's a disgrace.
We actually started well at the first 2 games in the group stage. Just that third game was fucking horrible.
We lost to a bunch of players that play in the Saudi league. That's how bad the A League is.
I would like to say though,
Like-
the Australian football team, the Olyroos as they like to be called, certainly had their best performance after the Egypt game. Those of you who read the news, 3 votes to the Olyroos. I think a washing machine got thrown off a balcony and and a TV. In my opinion, they're the real gold medalists in that regard.
Immature
Oh, dear.
kids. Oh, what was that?
apparently,
Right.
the Matildas got robbed as well in the
Oh.
semis against Sweden.
Yeah, they did.
It was a dodgy call.
What the goal?
Dodgy.
What worse
Yeah,
than
apparently
worse,
Sam
than-
Curtis-
A
Sam
disallowed
Kerr-
goal.
worse than the penalty that Brazil got in the start of this game.
What do we think of Malcolm? He's a good player.
Well, he used to be a Barca, didn't he? For like a season.
Malcolm, yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He did. He's been all around Europe, Malcolm. He hasn't really established himself at a club yet.
Jesus, Danny Alves.
A bit like Felipe Anderson was at where was Felipe Anderson? He was at Roma, wasn't he? Oh no, he was at
he's at West Ham.
No, yeah, that's right. But before West Ham, he was at like Roma. Then he went to West Ham, and then he went to Porto, and now I don't know where he is.
Is that Lazio again?
Oh yeah, that's right. It was Lazio.
Why would you?
Yeah.
He's good, wasn't he? I thought.
A bit of a prima donna.
I don't understand how players can chop and change. I like to be established. Like get a club, stay at the club.
Mate, I was at a different club every year.
Yeah, but that's bad though.
No, but I was moving up. Like I was at a higher club every year.
Yeah, but that's different. Like,
my boys, I'm gonna go and grab it, refill my drink. I only filled it up enough for half time.
No worries.
Felipe Anderson went from Lazio to West Ham, then went from West Ham to Porto, which is a downgrade, and now he's gone back to Lazio.
Yeah.
Like, why? Just why?
Money, money, money.
Well, Aaron went through his career away to play in a crap league.
What do you think of Jared Bowen, Fez?
Oh, it's just ridiculous. They get paid enough money as it is. They don't need more money.
I like Jared Bowen. I think he's got the ability to be a quality winger. He's certainly a goal scorer. Is he a level above? I don't think so. I think he's about where he belongs. So
that Yarmolenko.
I'm done with Yarmolenko.
Yeah.
He's cooked. He's a bit too slow for the Premier League. He's got the best left foot I've seen. Best left foot I've seen in almost in world football, other than like Messi and that. But his left boot is a gun. But no, he's a bit too slow for the Premier League now.
Is it Gabriel Jesus? No.
Gabriel
Jesus. No, you asked that before, Josh.
No, there's a new guy that just came on.
His name's Gil or something like that.
No, there's a guy that just... Wasn't there another guy that looks...
There's
another dude that just came on, yeah.
And it's pronounced Jesus, by the way.
It's pronounced Jesus. Jesus. I say Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus is isn't that Hebrew or something? It's not Latino. It's like a Hebrew name, Jesus. And then Jesus.
I swear, how old's Danny Alves now? Like 1,000?
Like
he's like 30,
40?
7?
39. 38, 39.
Is he? Yeah, I thought he's I know he's up there in age.
Now.
And speaking on transfers the A-League could have made, like when we could have got Ibra. Why weren't we for Ibrahimovic when he went to the MLS?
Perth were.
A-League couldn't get Ronaldinho.
I mean, we should bring Ronaldinho out of retirement. That guy's still a baller, man.
Ronaldinho was going to
that...
sign for an NPL team during the FFA Cup, but they didn't have enough money.
Wollongong Wolves, he laughed at the offer they made. There are elite level players that reject A-League runs because the A-League doesn't have the money for all of them. We're bringing a few here and there, and then they just do nothing. I.e. Honda.
Yeah, so I think you got to be careful.
Honda's not world class though. He's average.
He's a relatively big name, and we didn't get enough out of him for what the money.
Mate, he's not a relatively. He's a relatively big name to Australians. You mention him in majority of the parts of Europe, they're not going to know who he is.
No, but what I'm saying is he was a fringe player at in the Serie A. He played for Japan in the World Cup and the Asian Cup. He did have some degree of name value with him when we signed him, and then he just we got nothing out of him.
Australians only knew him because of the rivalry between Australia and Japan that was built because of the World Cup in 2006.
He was big enough of a name for the FFA. He was big enough of a name. Hang on, he was big enough of a name for the FFA to pay like a third his wage.
He was decent at CSK though.
Yeah. But Josh, I think you've got to be careful with your statements of a player was going to sign. Just because Wollongong Wolves got in contact with Ronaldinho doesn't mean he was ever going to sign.
It's like me asking Ariana Grande to marry me. It's not going to fucking happen.
I mean, there's a chance.
We can get in contact with her if you'd like, Jules.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm sure Faz has got some contacts.
I'll just get Ariana on the line.
I'm sure Ariana goes for the neckbeards, eh?
As we've got a corner, mate. This has been the most shittest second half of football in extra time.
Oh, I know.
Come on.
Yeah, no, Spain could literally be 3-1 up. 3-1 up. They hit the crossbar twice in the second half.
Yeah.
And then apart from that, it's just been dead. Like, literally just dry.
Yeah.
Like, they may as well just be out in the desert.
Watching Manchester United friendly, it's more entertaining.
Having a barbecue in the middle of the desert. That's how dry this game has been, man.
Every time we do a stream, the game ends up sucking.
Jules, mate, you were spot on. I was about to say that every bloody time.
Yeah, but the conversations make up for it, so there's that.
Well, it must be when Jules is here, though, because he wasn't here for the
Josh,
Euros.
no, it's me, mate. It's me.
Like every time
I'm hosting, the game is terrible. Every time, without
the
fail.
Euro game wasn't.
I was watching there was one game like I wish I was hosting this game. It was like 4-3. Like I might be getting the sack.
So,
because Jules is spot on, mate. Every time we agree to do a host, it's been the shittest game.
Yeah, but our conversations, I think, make up for it.
That's because we're awesome.
That's the point, though. That was the point. The channel wasn't to do the games. The games are just there, so we basically have a time slot to talk, you know, and so we've got something in the background. It's more the football talk was the point.
Yeah, well, that's what we're here for.
Hit it, son. Hit it.
No, I think it's interesting. I'm really looking forward to when the Premier League starts. I think we'll get some
I'm
good.
looking forward to the Roses derby, United Leeds. I think that's the first stream we're doing for the Premier League.
Yeah.
I'm gonna love that.
Are we all on? Are we all on Manchester United for that game?
I'll go Leeds. I'm more Leeds than United.
I'm going to say Man United will win that game 3-0.
I hate Leeds.
Varane to score in his debut. Sancho to score in his debut.
Varane won't score in his debut, dude.
Sancho to score in his debut. Sancho will
probably bag one and assist two.
I reckon Sancho will get a couple of goals.
Oh, what a goal!
He'll get one and assist two. He'll get 1 goal, 2 assists in his first game.
Well, it's against Leeds. Leeds can't defend.
They're not bad. They have a decent keeper, Leeds.
Oh, what was their goals? I'm gonna look at their goals against. They were pretty shit last.
Miele's not a bad keeper. Yeah, he's not a bad keeper.
Yeah.
Bielsa-Ball's no good.
Can we all agree that Mikel Antonio?
I mean, it worked against Liverpool last season. Almost, they almost beat Liverpool.
Mate, I honestly love Mikel Antonio. Like, I'm not joking. I'm in love with Mikel Antonio. I don't know why.
Yeah, he's a decent player.
Good story. How he was a right back, then a right winger, now he's a striker. Like,
yeah, Leeds last season conceded more goals than Fulham, who got relegated.
Yeah,
it's just his fitness. He keeps getting injured. Like he's injury prone.
He's not a striker, to be fair. Like, he's got a good head ability, but that's about it.
I remember, like, I think it was 2 FIFAs ago. He had a fitness card, and that card was absolutely disgusting.
Welcome back, Tom.
There's been a plethora of goals while I've been away, I can see.
Yeah. Hey, Tom, I was just this will interest you greatly. I was just doing my ladder predictor, right, for the footy, and have a listen to this. Carlton can still make the 8, right, as long as Essendon is embroiled in a drug saga in the next fortnight. We can still make the 8. Right?
Surprised me though.
We just it's still on the cards. We just need another drug saga and we're in. All right, so come on, season's still alive.
Oh dear. I think we can cue in the right.
Can we set up a sting operation?
Yeah.
Cue it back.
I'm queuing in the rack the AFL season this year.
Yeah, nah. Only two more depressing games, and then we'll be right.
I just want to say too before we continue. I think my dad's watching, so he's in hospital at the moment. So I hope he gets better soon. So
get well soon.
Shout out. Good. Get well soon, mate.
Get well soon, Josh's dad.
Yep.
This is the most. I'm gonna fall asleep watching this game.
Yeah, it's
especially now the United game.
Yeah, once we log off, I'll be going straight to bed. I'm kind of tired as well.
I'm not tired. I'm bored.
No, but like
it's a boring game.
As I said at the start of the show, it's my anniversary in 22 minutes. So,
in 22 minutes, mate, we'll be in a penalty shootout.
Yeah. So sorry, love. You just wait. We're in a penalty shootout.
Words just coming through that Faz is in the doghouse tonight.
Oh, mate, I'm in the doghouse every night. So
Wait, Faz, you got any plans for your anniversary?
yeah, lockdown. No,
Oh shit, I forgot. Oh,
He's
sorry.
gonna
I can't
take his
keep up with these
missus outside
lockdowns.
and nutmeg her and score a goal.
I mean, you can still make it like you can still make a romantic dinner or something.
I'm gonna take her for a nice romantic walk to the letterbox, and then
I actually completely forgot about the lockdowns because I can't keep up with this shit.
Yeah,
I mean, fair play.
Yeah,
So like we're in and out every like 3 days. I just forget what stage we're up to.
yeah,
Dim the lights, get the keels out.
Hey,
yeah,
Pop,
yeah.
what position did you play in football?
What position did I play?
In soccer football, like not AFL.
I was the original Peter Crouch. I was.
You did robot celebrations after goals?
No, I wasn't the robot. I was just the tall target man. So chances are he's not watching. But if Nathan's watching, Ambler, me and him conspired for about, I think it was 311 goals over 4 years between year 9 and leaving school. So yeah, we were a formidable partnership. He used to just run off me, and I just used to flick it on with the old head.
That's like Brandon and I
here in Scotland.
No, it's not. I never get the ball in futsal, mate.
Brandon,
I'm the creator in futsal. I don't score many goals anymore, man.
Brandon, I think Tommy's what Issa wants to be.
I have a claim to fame as well. I was in the papers for a $5,000 and a 12-game ban as well.
What'd you do?
I was playing for Pitwick FC, Saturday League, and I was on a centre back that was just in my ear all day, and I was having a bad game. I think I went full Nakawana Kanu from memory, and I missed like an open goal on the goal line. And he was just stuck into me all game. He was just a dickhead. And it was about 2 minutes to go. There was a 50-50, and I went in studs first. And he was on the floor saying, "Ref, he's broke my ankle." So I walked past him and jumped on his ankle. And turned to him and said, "Now it's fucking broken." And got separated, got a straight red. I got a £5,000 fine for GBH, basically.
Did you actually break his ankle or not?
Yeah, I broke his ankle. In 2 places. I proper broke it. I jumped up 2-footed and landed heel first into his ankle.
Oh, so it's like the one that happened to Fafana.
Wait, Plummy, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you live here or in Scotland?
I live here in Melbourne.
Oh, in Australia. Oh, yeah, fair enough. I thought you lived in Scotland.
Well, Palmer, look, as a former centre back in my glory days, I'd like to say I'm on his side, and you're filthy. So
I'll be honest, I was never a nice player. I did all the tricks, especially when I became an adult and played at a decent, well, not decent level, but I played Saturday League and stuff. I was a bit of a dickhead. I used to do the old nipping you under the armpit in a corner. That was my favourite go-to trick.
The Ryan Stratton.
The one is the accidentally stepping on the foot when the long ball's in from a corner. So sorry, mate, didn't see your foot there. Yeah.
Yeah. Or my favourite one is the old little knock to the in between your legs.
Oh, yeah, the fleshy part.
Yeah. I was a dirty player. I've been sent off a few times. I was sent off a few times.
So who did you play for then?
Played for my school, and then I played for Pitwick FC. So that was a local team in my area. So we played Saturday Division 2, won the league title, and won local cup. The Scarborough Evening News Cup final, which we played at McCain Stadium.
Love that. Didn't play for anyone when you came down here?
No, I haven't. No, I've played like local 5-a-side and stuff in like business leagues and stuff like that, but haven't got the boots out.
Has anyone seen? I was watching a movie while this is boring on Netflix today. It's called the World Game. Has anyone seen that TV show? It's about a Scottish player. He was the first ever paid footballer. His name was Fergie.
Is that the old one? Like it's
it was made last year. It was made last year, but it was it was based around his name was Fergie something. He was it's a good movie. Guy reminds me of Dan a bit. But.
What, was he a dirty player?
No, just the accent, and he was from a club. It was like Partick or something. And when you said Pitwick, it kind of reminded me of it. You know,
Partick Thistle.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with them.
You can't beat it. I mean, fans, you love centre backs and forwards. Love it, don't they? They love a little bit of hustle and bustle.
Mate, I'd love nothing more. My old man used to always say to me that I was a dirty centre back, but I said I love it. I used to love just the toe-to-toe. It's like a game within a game. It's the best. Just getting in the air, and then occasionally it goes a bit too far, but you know what? It's the best.
Yeah, I like to talk a bit. Get to know him, let him know what he's doing, how his day's going.
If he's got a family and kids, and then
do you know what I mean?
As I can just imagine you on a soccer field. Considering how you are at cricket, I can just imagine you on a soccer field, just all the banter and. It's the only reason to play sport, to be honest. And actually, here we go. Here's one. You were a dirty centre back, Faz. There we go. I'll be back.
I was only responsible for one pitch invasion. That's fine, but my rap sheet did. I did get suspended for more games than I scored goals, which is
commendable for a centre back.
Yeah, well, yeah, and here's a good one. Who got more cards, me or Pommy? Pommy, how many red cards did you end up with in your illustrious career?
I got sent off at school, 5 times. Off the top of my head, I would say about 7 times I saw red as a senior player.
7? I call that a successful season. You
got sent off more than 7 times in a season.
I remember my best run was I got sent off in a game, 3-week suspension, and then in my comeback game I got sent off in that comeback game. So yeah, I had a bit of a run, but yeah, I'm in double figure red cards, to be honest.
Wait, were you better or worse than Pepe?
Good work.
Yeah.
I rate it.
I was more clumsy than anything, if that's what they say. Your old man nearly got killed with pitch invasion. Yeah, I caused a pitch invasion, and yeah, everyone nearly got killed.
A dirty tackle.
No. Actually, think about the story Pom was just telling, how the centre back was in his face and getting all up. That's what I was doing to this young striker who had a history of smashing us, and I did a really good job. I towed him up, and then all of a sudden, it just got a bit heated and someone took him out, and I didn't realise he had half his family there bloody watching. And before you know it, I look up and some woman's hitting me with a handbag, and my old man's on the other side. It was chaos. I got a 14-week suspension that was reduced to 6 for that one.
Did you have to appeal it?
No, what happened was we got sent to the tribunal. I got a 14-week, but then the referee couldn't prove that it was me that was involved in it.
Oh, okay.
So I got like the 6 weeks because I was there, but I didn't, he couldn't prove that I started it. So there were 2 guys who got stuck with the 14 weeks, but I got reduced to 6. But yeah, classic.
Is there a red card?
Is there a rule? Oh, sorry.
Go, Pom. What was you say?
Oh, I was saying there's nothing better than a red card, though, is there? I mean,
yeah.
I only ever got them, though. I didn't make clumsy mistakes. I would say I've earned every red card.
Red card. I would say.
Straight red.
Yeah, I would say probably one of all my red cards was I looked up to the ref and actually in shock, how's that a red? But the rest, as soon as you turn around, sometimes you don't even look at the ref. You just know, okay, yeah, I'm off.
Yeah, you're gone.
See ya.
And then there's me. I've never been booked ever.
It's soft.
I'm too soft to play. I would never get booked. I'm too soft to play.
As a keeper, I probably should have got sent off, but I kind of milked it a bit, so he gave me a yellow. I went out for a corner, and the guy was being an absolute C-word all day. And he recently, it was a defender. He took out one of my mates and took his ACL without anything from a corner. And I came out and I got the ball with one hand, and with the other hand just came straight through at his face like that. And he's But then I went down like he headed my wrist, so I only got a yellow. So
I think that this one sums up. You got away with more than you got, and yeah, I think that's true. As any good centre back goes, you do get away with a hell of a lot more. And as Pommy was mentioning, the things that the ref doesn't see, yeah. I miss it. I'm getting a bit toey now. I actually want to get back and play now after all these conversations.
I'm missing it.
Yeah,
I miss set pieces because that's where you can get away with a lot of stuff.
I hate set pieces because I'm so small. I just like to stay the hell away, the hell out of the box.
The rules of piece, you got to be a Fellaini type, just a big fucking tree.
I'll just give you a little bit of heads up. There's a nice soft spot just below the buttock, in the hamstring, that if your knee can just time perfectly, you can put a bloke down pretty easily. So just below the buttock.
There is nothing better than Saturday afternoon playing against a big burly centre back and being told you're on the near post for a corner. It's a lovely place to be, to get acquainted with another male.
Well, yeah, it is, and I agree with that. And I'll raise you one. I think there's nothing better than a real solid tackle where you get all ball and you just crunch.
Oh, surely.
And the player just. But
what a goal!
Clean tackle, and that is Magda. Talk us through it, Pom. He's come in. He's cut through.
Well, big Malcolm, isn't he? Like that, 1-on-1. He's chested it down and cool as you like. Bottom right corner.
Is that the gold medal?
Brazil acting like they've won
the way this game's going, that's probably the gold medal right there.
That's a huge finish. We've got a question here from Corey, but we'll just go through this goal first, Corey. So sit tight, mate. It was beautiful counter-attacking football. Spain kind of had Brazil on the back foot, and I think the ability for Malcolm. We briefly mentioned him earlier. How good he is, the ability to chest that down and that finish. Let's have a look. The wonderful ball across the field, and he just goes bang, gets it past him.
Great finish.
Cool finish. Wow. Cool. Left foot on that angle. That's a ripper finish. I thought he chested it down. That's my mistake. He got it with his foot, and he just bang off the keeper's foot. Keeper almost made a good save in the back of the net. Though? Yeah, it was a huge pass, ripper pass. So, well, we've got a bit of life here, boys. A little bit of life. So hopefully,
impressive as well that Brazil are starting to play Sam Allardyce football there. A nice 50-yard punt from right mid.
Yeah. Brilliant,
hey, Paul,
brilliant.
I've got a question about local league in Scotland for you. So I don't know, I honestly don't know about local league here either, but I know in like football, for example, AFL and local league, if you get a 16 weeks all up in your whole career, so like if I get 12 weeks, say next week for punching somebody, and then next year I get 4, you get a life ban. Is that the same in Scotland for football, or is it you get as many weeks as
there has been people, if the police are involved, so like my case, the guy dropped the charges. So you could potentially get a life ban if the police are involved. I just got the max sentence. So you can, it's at the discretion. There's no red card limit or anything like that. It would literally be at the discretion of the tribunal that you go to.
Yeah, like I said, AFL over here, local league, you get 16 weeks your whole career and you're done.
Yeah, you're done.
So we'll get
if I was an AFL footballer, I would have probably sewn that up in probably round 2.
We'll get to a question from one of our fan favorites here, Corey. Good bloke, gives me a bit of stick, but I love it. Just like a good centre back and a good striker, Corey will be we good bit of banter. So I'm gonna give this one to you, Brendan, because he's your baby in Pedri. So Pedri broke the games played record tonight, didn't he? All the best, lads. I'm not too sure. Does that
games played in a season? Because he played for Barca, then he played in the Euros in the World Cup.
He's played over 70 games this season. I know that much.
That's incredible. And I would just like to point out, Corey, what a brilliant pickup there from you. Maybe we can get you on the show, mate. You should be hosting with absolute gems like that. But what a phenomenal and all the best, lads. So thanks, Corey. All the best to you, mate. And wow, like breaking the games played. I mean, that's a hell of a lot of games in a calendar year. Seriously, or sorry, a 12-month period with 70-odd games. I mean, the bloke's is a cyborg.
Yeah. Plus, you got to remember he'll be going back to Barca, who start their season in like what 2 weeks, Brendan?
Yeah,
a week.
Yeah.
2 weeks, something like
That's
that.
if they can get it. That's if they can get a team. That's if they can get all their players registered.
Well, I guess this is
games.
Well, this is the This is the reason we spoke about earlier about on a couple of shows ago with clubs, allowing their players out for Europa, Copa America, and then the Olympics. It's a long time. It's a lot of football to be played with no break. I think if you've got a big squad, you're okay. But I know I'll use West Ham as the example when Czech Republic and England went so deep, to have three of our most important players in Souček, Šufal, and Declan Rice return so late. It's is that a pen? No. It's certainly puts it into perspective about how important these players are. And Corey back, so 73 games played in a season. He beat Bruno Fernandes, and the bloke's only 18. Yeah, mate, it's
that's crazy, isn't it? As well, that's
Oh, Brendan, 70... do you see Pedri being the next big thing like Messi was for Barcelona?
No, he's a different kind of player.
Or Fati, Ansu Fati.
Ansu Fati's
I think we just need to just acknowledge two things here. One, acknowledge Corey being with providing us with absolute gems and being a good follower, but also 73 games in a season. That's ridiculous. Pardon my French, but
he must be fucking toasting.
He's only 18 as well. That's the bizarre thing.
That's cooked, mate. 73 games.
He's literally a kid.
You're more likely. I gotta admit, you are more likely to do that at that age than Ramos's age. But
you don't feel knocks and stuff at that age. Like now, I'm 23 now, and I'm starting to feel knocks and stuff a couple of days after games.
That's the equivalent. He's literally playing 1.5 games a week. Do you know what I mean?
He's played 2 seasons in 1 season.
Pretty much.
And think Patrick Dangerfield cries about having to play 25.
yeah, exactly right. Exactly right, man. That's next level. So once again, Corey, thank you so much for that stat. I mean, that's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Keep providing us, mate. I really appreciate it. As we go into the last minute with Brazil 2-1 up. I'll be honest, I'm glad there was a goal, but part of me is also disappointed because I was hoping for penalties. I love a good penalty shootout, but
you might still get it. Oh,
if Spain can pull something out of their locker, but
Richarlison's gone off as well. So if you are on Fantasy Football Watch and you're one of the many people that got him,
tell you what, get him off. Ben Foster's not a bad shout for a goalkeeper in the fantasy. He holds the record for most saves in Premier League history. So there you go.
Not wrong. So here's Corey again. So playing every game for Barcelona, your national team at 18 is slightly uncommon, I would have thought. I'll go as far as saying it's incredibly uncommon, almost probably never heard of. I mean, to play every game for Barcelona and then your national team.
I'd imagine it's as rare as rocking horse poo, to be honest.
Yeah. It's
also Barcelona aren't the easiest team to get into either, so there's that as well.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean,
that's why everyone's saying he's a special player. Like he's a special player.
Yeah, I'll be honest. There's not much that surprises me these days, but I'll put my hand up. I'm shocked at that stat. And again, thank you so much, Corey. That's incredible. Every game for Barcelona and the national team. That's cooked.
It's impressive.
Good on him. That's it, mate. He's a cyborg, mate.
Moving on to just off that topic a bit and onto West Ham for a sec. I saw somewhere, and I don't know, Alfonso Areola. Did you guys end up getting him? I saw you.
On
we got him on loan with an obligation to buy. So hopefully it does all right.
Not a goalkeeper.
No, Flabby Hansky's got flappy hands, right? So
Darren Randolph, man. I love Darren Randolph.
No, he's cooked though.
Areola's a decent keeper, man.
He'll be good for us. He'll be good. So he'll compete with Fabianski at the start of the season. I expect Areola to overtake Fabianski round about 6-7 games in.
Nah, he'll start the season.
I think Fabianski will start.
Do you
Sorry?
win for any strikers? Are you still in
They're-
for Schick or?
We're in for every striker.
They were in for
Nah.
Tammy Abraham. Don't know what.
Yeah,
don't know.
at the moment, not really. We're looking at centre backs, Kurt Zuma.
Oh,
There's a-
with him and Diop together would be good.
There's a Czech player. And here we go, Corey. All right, I'll humour you. London is red anyway, Faz. Time to come to the Gunners.
Maybe if Arteta gets sacked.
Yeah, I
London
did
is
like
blue.
it. I did like, mate, you're all full of shit. It's claret and blue for one.
No, it's
All right.
blue. 2 Champions
and
League, multiple
rainbow
Premier
coloured.
League titles. Like, where's Arsenal, Tottenham's, West Ham's? Where are your Champions League trophies? Where are
Up
they?
your ass and up your ass. We'll shove that blue flag up your ass.
They're coming when
Stamford Bridge to
Lingard.
Upton Park, we'll
I
shove
mean,
that blue
even
flag
the
up
United
your ass.
fans here will say that if London's going to be any colour, it's got to be blue because we're the only team in London that have won 2 champions, not 1, 2. We're
Look, I'm
only
gonna
1
back-
behind United and like 2
I'm gonna-
behind Liverpool now.
I'm going to back Corey up here. I can't believe I'm going to say this.
You're like 4 behind Liverpool.
Sorry, I'm going to wash my mouth out.
Liverpool have
but,
5, don't they?
There's only ever been
Oh yeah.
there's only ever been 1 Invincibles. Sorry, I can't believe I said that. But yeah, there's only been
Like,
one.
well, would you rather win an Invincible Premier League title or a UEFA Champions League?
The draw can win.
Invincible-
You ask any
Invincible
Arsenal
Premier
fan, they
League
take the
title.
Champions League.
Hang
They
on,
would.
hang on.
They would take the Champions League.
Whoa. To a degree, the draw can win you the Champions League.
Look, I'm
You
going
can get
to.
through the
But
group
the-
stage beat. No, you can get through the group stage beating Farmers.
I mean,
I'm going to be honest, Brendan. I'm going to be honest.
Stage, I'm talking group stage. You
Alright.
can beat Farmers in the group
So
stage.
I know we're getting a bit heat. I'm going to be honest, Brendan. If it's me, heaps of teams win the Champions League, but
Yeah.
only one team has ever been invincible. So I'd be taking an invincible. 'cause only one team's ever done it.
38 games, whereas the Champions League's over the course of like 10.
Only one. Only,
but
I can't
they
believe I'm
drew
saying
majority. It wasn't even like a good shit. They drew majority of their games.
yeah, invincible, mate. And I tell you, mate, it makes me sick saying it because I can't stand it. But
But, like,
well, according to Corey, and I probably agree. Chelsea's history starts in 2005, Brendan.
yeah, that's facts. When Abramovich took over, facts. But like, we still won everything. We still
Yeah,
won
I wanna
everything
point-
in
yeah,
like
Question
what?
here- I got a question here, and it's like directed at
Have
you
you ever
guys.
won? Have you ever been invincible?
No?
Hang on, Brendan's
I can't-
saying that
honestly,
wait. Brendan's saying
I can't
that
believe I'm
Arsenal
defending
drew
Corey.
half their games in the Premier League. When we won it in 1920, we won more games than Arsenal back in 03-04, but we also lost more games. We lost 3,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
lost none.
Yeah,
That's getting it back some years. It was 1920. Jesus.
That was the last
Oh,
season we won.
wait, yeah, I get it. Not, yep, okay, I get it.
Come
I'm
on,
comparing,
wake up.
I'm comparing our Premier League win to when Arsenal won in 03-04. We won more games than Arsenal, but we also lost more. So
True.
going invincible, even if you're drawing a lot of games, is impressive.
It's
I
very
mean,
impressive.
it is. But if
This
you look at the
one's the-
squad they had, man, like that's better. That's better than any Chelsea squad I've ever had, and we've won 2 Champions Leagues.
Yeah, but
Okay, now Corey, that's getting a bit on.
Any money on
What?
that
They're
squad.
invincible.
Gotta
They're
remember, the
invincible.
Like, come on, like, where's their Champions League? They should have won it.
But
With
they're
that
invincible.
squad, you're telling me they go invincible, but they can't win a Champions League. So which one's harder to do here?
yeah, but
Come
there's-
on.
when- okay, when you won your
Invincible,
first
mate.
Champions League, you finished 6th in the Premier League.
Even Nottingham Forest won a Champions League.
I mean, yeah, but we won the
You
Premier League the
finished lower on
season
the ladder
before we
than
won.
Newcastle United. Like that says a lot.
But mate, we should. The year we won the Premier League, which was the year before we won the Champions League, we should have won the Champions League that year. We had about 6 penalties not given against Barcelona.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Yeah, I'll just leave this little
Wenger,
juicy one
Fergie.
here from
Okay.
Corey.
Nah,
Mate.
Fergie.
Wait,
Pommy,
wait.
Pommy, you can fill this one in.
No, Wenger sucked in Europe. I won't say he's bigger than Fergie.
Wenger was a phenomenal coach, but I mean, you can't argue with what Fergie did. You know what I mean? Look at his resume, what he did with Aberdeen, then went to United. The guy's a serial winner.
Not to discredit
Like-
Wenger, but he had what was it, probably 5-6 really good years at Arsenal and then a bunch of years of shit. Fergie managed to rebuild his team 4 times at United. So they're both
Yeah.
very good, but I'd say Fergie's better.
The way,
Yeah,
the way,
Corey, I'll
give
defend
Corey
you. I'll defend you
something.
for a lot of things, Corey, but I won't defend you on that one. Sorry, Fergie for me.
the way I view
I'll
Fergie,
give-
right?
I'll give
Is
Corey
if-
one thing though,
Yeah,
that
go,
2003 Arsenal team is probably the greatest team ever, potentially. Greatest team
He
I've
was
ever
able to
witnessed
build,
in my
He was
lifetime.
able to
the
build world
greatest
beaters
team
on
I've
a
seen.
very cheap budget.
Yeah.
Put it this way: Alex Ferguson would win the AFL with the Gold Coast Suns. Wenger wouldn't.
The way
He'd
the
win
way I
A
look
League
at
with
What was it?
our victory team.
Go on,
What was
Brendan.
that
On to you,
unbeaten
Brendan.
run? 14 draws and 49 wins or something like that.
this is
ridiculous.
Go on,
this is the
Brendan,
way
tell
I
us.
view Sir Alex, right? You have a room full of like all the best gaffers in the world game, right? In history. So Alex walks into the room, they'd all call him gaffer.
Yeah, that's a good call.
That's the way I view it. Like they would all call him gaffer. Even Wenger would call him gaffer. He wouldn't call anyone else gaffer, but they'd all
He's the
refer to
god.
him as gaffer.
He's the godfather, isn't he?
I
Yeah.
don't like
And
people
there it
comparing
is.
Pep to him.
Brazil
All right,
win.
so here we go. So we've just had full time, and Brazil are the gold medalists.
They always
winning
win the
2-1.
blooming gold
Won
medal.
the Bundesliga. Like, is that really impressive? Not really. It's like winning the bloody championship.
Oh, man.
So
Not to discredit
do-
Pep, but the Bundesliga wasn't really much of a feat.
no, it wasn't. So we look at this Brazil 2-1. Is that a deserved winners? Do we think they were the best team in it?
I think
yeah,
yeah,
I
on
think-
paper, yeah,
result.
probably. Yes.
Yeah,
I think
Yeah.
it's a fair result.
yeah, I agree.
I mean, Spain were unlucky. They hit the crossbar like 3 times.
Malcolm's
They
a
were.
national hero. The Charlison's the national villain.
Yeah, so I think we'll go around and get our player of the match before we sign off. If there's any other questions, so Brendan, your player of the match, other than your baby Pedri.
I don't know, man. It's hard to say because it was kind of stalemate for like 80% of
Yeah.
the game.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick one, probably Malcolm with the deciding goal.
Jules,
I didn't watch the game. I jumped on halfway through, so no one.
Josh,
Danny Alves.
Danny
He
Alves,
made that.
Pom.
He made that goal line save as well. I think it was him.
Yeah,
Nah,
I agree.
that was Carlos, wasn't it? Diego Carlos.
I thought it was Alves, but anyway, Alves. Yeah, he was solid.
Pom,
I really enjoyed a bit of Anthony today. I thought he was in everything that was good for Brazil, so I really enjoyed his game.
yeah,
thought it
I
was a
think.
stellar game from him.
Yeah, I think Anthony or Alves for me. Chris says Malcolm turned the game. I agree. Obviously, with the winner, he did turn the game. And another one from Corey is Danny Alves furthers his streak as the most decorated player of all time. Interesting. I can't disagree with that. I think he's been a wonderfully decorated player, and in a lot of ways, probably an underrated footballer in the world. It probably goes a bit unrecognised, but yeah, he definitely he's having a Danny Alves.
I think he's in the
Was it-
Brazilian league.
Yeah, he's certainly finishing
I
up
think
his
it's at
career.
Santos or something, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah. So no, it's a good shout. It's a good call. So let me just have a look where Alves. He's Sao Paulo. So
Oh yeah.
Happy
So-
days.
yeah, happy days. So all right. So I think we'll end the show there. We've got no more questions. It's been a long one, but it was obviously doing the gold medal match. So just my final thank yous to everyone. Thank you for our watchers and the questions, especially Corey towards the end there. We really appreciate it.
Just remember, we'll be live in 6 days for the United.
Yes,
unfortunately,
yes.
Leeds.
Wait, when's the Premier League transfer deadline thing?
When is
End
the
of
deadline?
August. End of
Yeah.
August.
Oh, okay.
So we'll be
fair enough.
So we'll be here in 6 days. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Really appreciate everyone in here, and from me and everyone here. Adios.
See you guys.
See ya.